being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages, as well as all the lyrics of all the pop rock songs. And they all sing the same refrain. It's fun.
This is a special request. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimilla, some call it land spread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I'm
Number 39?
No, is it?
Yep, 39.
Oh, man. I'm your host, Adam Dunn.
I'm your co-host, Mitch Shenassa.
And that's Crunchy.
And there's Ryan.
Hey. Full studio today, full studio. So today we are, basically we're going to say farewell to the Hoodlab. That's, unfortunately we're on the last 2 days of our existence as this spot.
In this, the Hoodlab is a phoenix. That's what we're going to be talking about, right? The phoenix-like nature of
exactly how we rise from the ashes, as phoenixes do,
as phoenixes ought to do.
And but we're also going to have a call with a good friend of mine, Jordan Carlson, who is kind of emulating what I did in Amsterdam now in the East Coast, which East Coast needs that. You know what I mean? They need spots for people to go and chill and feel comfortable. So we're going to talk to him, see what's going on in Rhode Island. There's a bunch of cups coming up there too. He's got one going on, secret cups going on there too. So Rhode Island's getting into the target zone. It's kind of funny because I lived there as a kid.
There's money up there, obviously.
I mean, it's interesting because it's like it's a small state, but yet like Providence is so much different than South County. You know what I mean? It's just like it's such a tiny little area, but interesting. So, like I said, I grew up there.
Yeah.
I know that spot.
No, for sure. Rhode Island's cool. There's Dunkin' Donuts everywhere. That's the one thing that I noticed.
Yeah, I had this idea once. The last couple times I was there, I was driving. I was like, you can't turn a corner without seeing one, right? So I was like, we should do the Dunkin' Donut challenge, and you have to get from like point A to point B. And if you see a Dunkin' Donuts, you have to go through it, and you have to eat a donut. You'd probably never make it to it. You'd probably die.
Impossible to cross the city.
It's insta-diabetes.
It is a total diabetes run right there. The diabetes run. That'd be a good way. Yeah, you should donate money to diabetes after you created a new diabetic, basically is what it would come down to. But, yeah. And
so I guess the common theme to the show is kind of smoking clubs because Jordan's doing a smoking club. We're going to be talking about because Vice called Hoodlab Smoking Club, so now it's a smoking club.
Whatever.
Right?
It's the last day. I can call it whatever the hell I want.
And the new Hoodlab that we'll talk about a little bit, or the projected future Hoodlabs going in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the thing about I try not to plan too far ahead, even though it's fun, but you end up
got to follow the Dow.
It actually never goes to plan. So the thing about the first Hoodlab here, Hempworks back in Amsterdam, CIA, these are all the shops that I started back in the day with, and they all were very organic. You know what I mean? Nothing was like, we never had a big budget. We never came in and said, oh, we're going to do all this. It was just like every time we adjusted it, made it better. And this last space, as most of the people who come know, it's just like it has evolved to the point where I'm sad to leave it, but at the same time, now I know the next spot will be even better.
Amazing, yeah.
Of course.
And I just want to say, if anyone's listening to the show live and they have memories of the lab, past or present, present incarnation, previous incarnations they want to throw in later.
Or predictions.
Or requests or whatever.
Yeah, bring it on.
We'll open it up for calls a little later, I think.
Yeah, it would be nice. So, yeah, tonight, I'm just going to put it out there right off the bat, but tonight we were planning on doing Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. It looks like we've been, rained out. Up in Smoke.
Down in rain.
Down in rain. So I think I'm going to try to shoot for tomorrow because I'd rather have a good finishing thing instead of standing out in the rain, and I'm sure everybody else has the same sort of feeling, but feel free to come down anyway and check us out because we're still there. We do have I've been pushed that garage sale. I put the G-Rage. The G-Rage sale is still going on.
Dude,
it never ends.
You know what? By the way, I'm coming back for any kid shit you don't sell.
Okay, great. No,
that projector's awesome.
Isn't it?
Dude, I bug out on the bird cartoons circling on my ceiling. That's how the kid can't see it, but I fall asleep to it. It's great.
Pretty awesome stuff. Yeah, so basically we had I sold the limo.
Yeah, I heard.
Well, I haven't sold it officially yet. It's happening today. But the guy's
deal
pumped.
is
pumped.
made.
No, he's pumped.
So wait, I want to talk about the Cheech and Chong thing you're doing. So you're doing it like Rocky Horror style, interactive?
Yes, it would be a participation event. So the idea being
playing it down.
Yeah, well, basically the theme is like a Rocky Horror Picture Show style, because that's the thing is like you know what to do when you go to that show. You bring your squirt gun, you bring your rice, you're good to go. Crunchy has no idea because he definitely
Crunchy doesn't know Rocky Horror. I kind of don't believe it.
I
Well,
really
Ryan,
don't.
I believe. Ryan, I totally.
Ryan
believe that.
definitely doesn't. He didn't even know that GMOs existed last week.
I
Until last
just-
week. So.
I know of it. I've seen it several times.
You don't know the
but
deal?
But you
I don't know the deal when I go to. I don't go to.
Right. It's not a thing you do.
You wouldn't
I
know what was going. Yeah, well, that's
You were never a creepy white kid, though. Adam was a creepy
Never.
white kid. I
actually-
briefly dabbled in
I actually
creepy white kid.
I don't think I ever like went to a show,
But you were a creepy white kid.
but I
dude.
knew
Don't-
exactly what went down. Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah,
deals. But anyway, yeah. So you have to come prepared, So you bring. You just got to look. And Cheech and Chong's pretty easy. I think most people have seen it.
You
enough
just
times,
dress in
up and smoke.
costume. You
So
bring your weed.
Exactly, and then you when they smoke, you smoke, and when they have the giant joint, you have the giant joint, and when they so it's pretty cool interactive movie because they have a lot of food and a lot of weed. So that's good. It's not their best food, of course. It's pizzas and whatever, but still, there's food in the movie, so you have to
You eat what they eat when
and
they
you drink.
eat.
In the beginning, they start with a really nice banana shake, so it's a good start. You start off with a little nice shake, and you work your way towards the giant joint. So everybody's satisfied. That was the idea.
So come down to the lab tomorrow. It sounds like if you want to get high and
unless the
eat a
sun,
lot.
unless the sun just kicks it all of a sudden, because
If the sun comes, yeah.
I drove down here and it rained harder and harder the whole time I came down here.
It's
I was
kind of awesome East Coast weather we got here.
I was like, what is going on here?
All right, well, you want to do news? We got a couple minutes
Sure.
for that.
Yeah.
So I'll go quick over serious news, and then you got really the stuff that's worth talking about.
Oh, I got the real good news.
Yeah,
Exactly.
seriously. So New York Times came out editorial board
that
in
was huge.
favor. Really huge. I mean, obviously they've been testing the waters. As a cynic, you can be like, oh, they were playing the fence for a long time, whatever. But realistically, you got to realize any major journalism outlet's going to do that, and the fact that they then assessed the response and decided, yes, it's time. That's a really strong indicator for.
And that's
for the
literally
change we're
about
looking for.
almost it's 19 years from the first really big article that they did, which was about Amsterdam and about the whole scene there.
Really.
Oh. And we were in it, of course.
Of course.
We were in it. That was actually, and that was Michael Pollan is the guy who wrote it.
Yeah.
Which,
Okay, yeah.
So it was a pretty awesome article, and it was so pro at that time that it really felt like they were they were already going over the fence on that line. They were like, forget about it. We're on their side. So I think in the background, there's definitely been enough people there.
Those
supporting.
dudes all smoke, obviously. They just couldn't say it yet.
Yeah,
But now
and-
they can.
Oh no, and like again, New York's like a linchpin. It's like
Right.
literally the thing that will change the direction because, I mean, their policies don't sound very smart, but as far as just the idea that
The
it can
influence of New
no,
York and
it will go so fast. I mean, and the thing is, again, you know, and I know. It's not like people don't smoke there, you know what I mean?
Right,
And they
exactly.
smoke massive amounts of cannabis, an unbelievable amount, actually.
So
And, it's like the other thing that, like you were saying, like when something happens in New York, it makes a bigger impact than other places. I mean, it's just same thing with the Los Angeles. Things happen in Hollywood, and it's socially more acceptable because it's happening in Hollywood or it's happening in New York.
it's kind of when it happens in both places
We got a
that
call
it makes an
in.
impact. I believe that's our.
That's Jordan.
Yeah. So, but we got other. So, the other big thing, a new federal bill considering they're calling it a Charlotte's Web bill.
Ah.
Well, hold on. Yes, blah, gross. It's not perfect, but let's be honest, dude.
I know it's awesome at a federal level. I mean, it's
Like
huge.
it's
just
definitely like people are wising up. They just don't know yet. We need to educate them.
Yeah, it's like
So I'm
the
thinking
ideas are
Adam
great.
Dunn show goes to Washington.
There
Bud.
you go.
I don't know if you like. I will write the proper emails.
I'm ready to live the dream.
Well, I mean, like, dude, like, who else can
tell
tell
what's
these
up.
people this stuff? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, you got a minute left for this awesome news.
This awesome news. Oh yeah, well, this is where was this again? Hold on.
Texas, I feel
In
like.
Texas, right?
Yeah.
Goodrich, Texas.
Yeah.
So basically, this says that 70 officials. This is classic too, with inmates. And there's photos. And there's photos. I don't know if anyone can see those, but there's photos of inmates harvesting weed, which is awesome. I mean, that's like I'd be rubbing that stuff on every possible place I could just to go back home and get yourself a nice little chunk of charas.
Yeah, you
Keister that bad.
covered
boy.
in hash.
Put it in the middle back pocket.
middle, man.
But basically, they had there were some hunters, and they found how many plants did they find?
Like a giant farm.
40,000 plants. That's a pretty huge thing. And
That's huge.
Growing that fire.
40,000.
but was it really
plants?
cannabis? I wonder, or was it just a bunch of hemp that
Like
they're
hemp
like?
stalks?
You know, you never know with these kind of things because sometimes
I guess,
they
but I
love to
don't
they
know.
love to hype the numbers up. I mean, whenever it's 40,000, it's like really somebody went out and put 40,000 plants that didn't think someone was going to find it. It's like
Street value,
pretty close to
$14
the
billion.
border.
Yeah.
exactly,
that's
and
close
that's
to
a
the
classic.
border.
But that's what they do at every chance they can. Especially like Texas. I don't know how much feral hemp there is in Texas, but the Nebraska, states like that.
There's wild hemp out there.
Massive amounts.
Iowa.
Massive amounts.
You know, I feel like they know.
I want to
weed
go out
from-
and check some of that stuff out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right on. So we have our next guest on the line.
Our only guest.
Our guest. Yeah, we have today's guest on the
Hey,
line.
Jordan, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Jordan? Adam, do you want to line Jordan up for the listeners?
I will line Jordan up for sure. So let's see. With the first, introduce us to the first event that you did.
Yeah, what have you been doing out there, bud?
Yeah, the Cannabis All-Stars last year.
Yeah.
That was in March, and we celebrated the decrim, which is coupled with our medical law. So we now don't prosecute adults for up to an ounce, as long as you don't do it 3 times in 18 months.
It's a 3-time. Yeah, then you're a 3-time loser at that point, right?
If you get
get
caught
caught
for
three times.
anything
If you get
3
caught-
times,
then
so
you're a
you can
criminal.
get caught once every 6 months is basically what it is. More than that, and you're not responsible enough to keep doing this. Like, keep it cool.
Pretty awesome stuff.
Exactly. So last year up in the city, we brought everybody together. We had about 350 people that came through and different vendors and stuff.
Yeah, I was there. It was
Probably
it was
18
cool.
entries. Yeah, Adam came through. Some other special guests.
Yeah, it was
And
definitely
Danko in the house.
definitely fun to be in Rhode Island and see it being progressive for once. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the most corrupt little state in the union finally got its shit together.
Well, you think Rhode Island, and you think like
Yeah.
millionaires
corrupt
and blue
state
collar
ever.
workers who aren't really progressively minded.
Well, the
known
cool-
for their progressive thoughts.
I mean, the cool part about Rhode Island is if you get enough people in the room, you pretty much got a unanimous vote, right? So, I mean,
yeah,
that's
I feel
kinda-
like
it's kinda-
350 people in Rhode Island, to put that draw in perspective, that's like 1/10 of the population of the state, right?
Yeah. Rhode Island's full of cronyism. We're taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps back right now with our programs.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's but it seems like a lot of more events are coming there. Secret Cup's coming into town.
Yeah, people are.
You have your event coming
Yeah,
up.
Speaker Cup, we're doing ours again August 23rd and 24th at Stepping Stone Ranch.
So I want to
Next
definitely
week.
talk about your event a little bit in one of the later segments we got you on for. But so Adam, you said he's doing a smoking club deal. You're doing a smoking club deal, Jordan?
Yeah, we're working on doing the first ever dab club, smoking lounge, like Patients Lounge, for people to come socialize. You know, they sell it, they tax it here, but they don't let you smoke it anywhere, and they try to,
Yeah, it's the
keep you
same
in
problem
dark,
we have
but you
here.
should feel discriminated against.
That's really the one place that Amsterdam has us beat hands down. Obviously, the quality's not there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but when it comes to the
that's all
convenience,
it is the tolerance. You just allow the tolerance, and then when people get out of line, you can kick them out because it's just tolerated and it's not legal.
so where are
Rhode
you guys
Island
at
should
on
be
the
the model
smoking club?
for
Where
Amsterdam.
what's your plan for it? How far along are you? Are you open?
We're not open to the public yet. Right now, we're still like halfway through. We got about 6,000 square feet. We're gonna have a little indoor skate park. We're gonna do live shows, food and drink, stuff like that, and we'll do private events stuff.
sounds a little like the Hoodlab.
Is this Hoodlab Rhode Island? Is that what we're doing here?
Sounds a little like we're stealing somebody's idea
It's
here.
all right.
Yeah, we might
My
need to
ideas
do
are there to be stolen. Actually,
Yeah, they're open source.
Exactly.
We might have to do some backlinking online with you guys and all
Adam
that stuff.
started more movements than anybody.
No, but it was really cool to see. Like also when I was there, it was really funny. Like some of the people that were entering in the cup were like in my grade, or like, and they're so happy and appreciative of what
So
you.
happy.
So happy that you actually did this, and that's the thing. Is it just takes some balls. I mean, you have to have a little bit of balls. You have to be able to put it out there and take some risks. And at the end of the day, once they realize like you're actually
Yeah, it's more
giving
clear.
people a safe place to get out of their face in a sense, and that's kind of what I think. Once they realize that, then it should be easy enough to.
It's easier for everyone. It's obviously it frees the cops' hands to do things. It frees people's hands to not get fucked with by the cops. It's a way better way to go about it. So we got 5 minutes left. I do want to talk about like what you got going with the smoking club, what your plans are, and stuff like that. And then let's talk about.
Let's talk about your case actually.
Yeah,
that you
that's
brought up
a-
because
yeah.
that's that. To
Yeah,
me
that's
is,
landmark right now. We're
Yeah.
the first growers in the entire state of Rhode Island to get discriminated against by a private town. Like we're getting zoning board, we're getting violations, and they don't realize that we just appealed our case, and in the town they ruled that growing medical cannabis falls under 74.1, which is the manufacture of agricultural products, and basically what they're trying to do is just out every single patient and caregiver in the program, and they don't realize that by what they did in outing the privacy of patients, that they put people's lives at risk because there was a robbery.
Right. No, that's kind of what they did here by mistake too. One time they posted like every single grow operation in Boulder, and it was like, really, you told the exact address of these are like places that don't have signs, and they weren't out there advertising, but it just kind of like, oops.
Basically the town painted a target on my back.
Right.
So, what recourse are you seeking on that?
Well, right now we're being fined $500 a day from the town of South Kingstown for the manufacture of agricultural products in a non-deemed zone, which is, we're going through appeals right now. We just appealed it and we lost, and now we're going to the Superior Court, which should be heard in the next month or two. And my lawyer, he thinks we got nothing to worry about. Like, they're going to overturn it and realize that the General Assembly made the Thomas C. Slater Act to protect these people. So you don't have to follow the cronyistic zoning laws and say you needed this $1 million building in this $1 million zone. It's so any patient has access to an electrical outlet that's deemed safe, they can plug one of these lights into it and supply themselves with their medicine. And now, right now, I have a list of patients, cancer patients, war vets that can't get their medicine because I'm being forced to shut down.
Yeah, that's crazy. I definitely I think there's going to always be backlash from different towns. Like same thing here. I mean, we have some towns that were just embraced it, and other towns that didn't. And all the towns that didn't are hating it right now because they are definitely not reaping any benefits of this, and it didn't stop anybody else.
Yeah, you're putting your people behind, like with research, with advancements, like the jobs that are coming. All these states that don't have medical programs are just allowing us to get our business model set up so that way when the next state opens up, we're the ones that reap it instead of the citizens of the state, which it should be.
And even on the micro level, you see like the towns, the cities that even before tax revenues, you'd see like Aurora. They didn't want dispensaries. Mm-hmm. Everyone in Colorado, you hear the town's doing better. The town's got all this new development projects, this, that, and everywhere in like Boulder and Denver, places that are doing it. Aurora, closing the public library.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah, no, it's pretty much you got to hit them in their pocket because that's the only place they seem to understand.
Yeah, it seems that the only way we get anything done here is when we can show them the financial aspects. And right now, the way the Rhode Island medical program goes, we pay a $200 fee to be a caregiver and a $100 fee to be a patient, and there's over 10,000 patients, so that's over $5 million revenue for the state that they don't declare as anything. They don't say, hey, we're reaping benefits. They tax it, which is right now you guys are going through that. They're trying that as a
25%,
a violation of your Fifth Amendment right because you're openly admitting criminal guilt on the federal level by paying a tax on cannabis.
Well, that's on the business level, even beyond the retail sales tax is the big, because now the IRS is they seem like they're flopping back, but they were doing this thing where they were saying, well, you guys aren't allowed to have banks, but you can't pay your taxes in cash. That's not allowed. So figure that shit out.
That's what I was just going to say. How are you doing with banks over there? Because I mean over here it's a pain. They'll tax us, but they won't take our money.
Just give them all the cashiers.
It'd be like
thousands
Samsung
of them.
did. Just send a tractor trailer truck full of nickels.
Yeah, no, that's definitely been used a few times recently. The old nickel, the old truck full of nickels.
Truck and nickels.
And the thing with our dispensaries out here is we got 2 dispensaries that are open, and there's no tracking, there's no regulation on them, there's no checking of quality, there's no checking for contaminants. It's just a circus where it seems like there's just no regulation, and somebody wrote 3 of their friends into the law instead of it being open capitalistic, it should be.
There's some Rhode Island for you right there. That's a classic. Exactly. That's a classic.
And generally, the first 2 shops in any town are the ballsiest, but not the best. And that's
and these ones aren't like that either. They're the ones who just had the money or the attachments. Like they're not even in the marijuana industry. Like I've dealt with one of them in particular, and it's the people they break out like a pocket scale to weigh out like what you bring in this wholesale. They're not professionals, and they're not even in the industry.
Right.
It's all straight money. They're jokers when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So tell them about.
Well, I was going to ask, can you guys wholesale over there? Is that still a thing? Can a caregiver cultivate and wholesale?
Yeah, we can walk into our dispensaries just like it used to be, like pawn shop style. That's what I mean. no regulation.
But then you got to wait there for 4 hours while they weigh it out on an eighth scale.
Yeah, while they weigh it out on a scale, yeah, and then exactly, and then they're talking about 28.6 ounces. Like they just have no idea.
28.6. Yeah.
There you go.
No, the Jersey ounce, man. I'm all about the 27.6. That's what I call a Jersey ounce. It's a new measure of weight that I invented.
Yeah.
27.6 Jersey ounce.
So, I said, yeah, do you give when you sell grams out of that? I was like, I see what you're doing. I was like, every 0.6 is unaccounted for. You deal with thousands of ounces. That's a lot of 0.6s.
For sure. No, I know that's the classic scam. The classic scam there.
Tracking on it. Here they can cut down plants. There's no tracking on how much it weighs. Half of it, the real sales start when the doors close.
Right. So as far as like what you're doing with the smoking club, 6,000 square feet, that's a big room. I know I'm starting to understand spatial relations.
700 person capacity is what we had before, so we're hoping to get the same 600 to 700 capacity.
Nice.
So the car parking lot. We got a huge parking lot.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's
so would it be like a membership club or like a bar?
Yeah, membership club, but we're gonna do nonprofit stuff, not bar, no alcohol, but we're gonna do community outreach, kind of like the Hoodlab too. But we're gonna do like movies outside for people's family, like farmers markets, just different community outreach.
You have to call it Labovision, though.
Yeah. So if you've never been to Hoodlab and you live in Rhode Island, I'm saying the listeners.
Yeah.
If you've never been to Hoodlab and you live in Rhode Island, you can go to a weird, it's like the Epcot version of Japan that you go to.
Yeah, it's a little defunct version,
Exactly.
The defunct cannabis cinema.
Yeah. So you're in an old cinema, right?
Yeah, we're in an old movie theater.
Oh wow, that's one of my top.
That's awesome.
That and an old church are my two ideal locations for things.
Yeah, we still have the screens up and operable. We got
awesome.
2 of them that run.
Dude, I might want to talk to you about my birthday party.
We played Xbox while we're skateboarding on the half pipe, playing Tony Hawk while we're skating on a huge TV.
That's a good deal.
So
you gotta live the dream, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, can you tell us any more about the lawsuit that you're dealing with, or is that kind of the most you can legally be talking about?
Yeah, right now I'm going to leave it a little open and give you guys a little hanger because in the next month we should have something good where we can go full out press and let the precedents be known that they just set a huge precedence.
Yeah, because I feel like it does set a major landmark.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, and the cool part too.
Landmark, and it's also it's straight. Like there's admission from the building inspector that he knew of multiple other gardens, and I'm the only one that's ever gotten zoning violations. The building I'm in, his use was changed prior to me being in there. It was a wood shop with sawdust in there, like no ventilation. It was an explosive building. We got gas lines in there and then sawdust, but the fire marshal didn't care about that. The building inspector, nobody cares. But then one person gets a hair across their ass, and now all of a sudden we get to be the enemy. And then we got robbed, and then they're trying to claim that we're the nuisance when really the violation of the privacy was what created the nuisance. You didn't need to point the target out in a small town of where one garden is. That
sure,
right. Third, and it was a 10 by 10 tent that they found allegedly.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, 10 foot by 10.
I think I just sold one of those for $200 at the Hoodlab.
That wasn't a 10 by 10. Come on.
Yeah,
you gotta get your space.
And that's what they asked at the meeting. What do you need 6,000 square feet for? And I say, what does it matter how much space I rent? It's a building they were cooking crack cocaine in here before I moved in here because they left the power on, And they're saying that I'm the nuisance. I cleaned this building up. I put flowers outside,
Yeah,
and inside.
And it's
allegedly. But I'm not turning them into. There's no manufacturer. Just who knows what's going on.
Who knows what's going on? So, all right. Well, then we got about 6 minutes left, and then I want to
tell us about what's going on. And then we're talking about
dude. Right now I do want to talk more about the smoking club.
Hey, you want to know more?
Yeah, like
details.
Like are you guys gonna? Well, can people show up and like buy a dab, or can they?
Nope, there won't be. Nothing will be for sale. Everything's going to be free donations from other members who decide to be the bartender of the day or the bud.
Oh, that's cool.
A patient shows up with their allotted 2.5 ounces, and then they give it away as part of their contribution to the club. So everything's going to be free for members in there. There's not going to be no sale of anything. It's
that's a good deal. That's a good
deal.
More of a community aspect, like to bring people together. And then, the other, it's the ancillary things that you make the money off of, the clothing, the food, getting them into your other businesses from the events, But the medicine out here and the aspect of the socialness, even on the recreational side, is more of just bringing people together and realizing that we don't have to hide. There's powers in numbers, and we shouldn't be ostracized out of our own communities.
Oh, for sure. And I like the idea of it being where people don't feel uncomfortable not knowing, like, do they have to ask everybody for this? Or, and once you get into that vibe, I mean, because that's also part of the thing is, like, people come to Colorado and they can buy dabs, of course, but they don't have a rig. They don't have anything with them. And then, of course, if they're going to buy like $60 worth of shatter, and they're going to have to spend $350 to smoke it. You know what I mean? So in the end of the day, just to have a safe place to go, use their rigs, and or if there's people offering, that's even better, because I mean that's
what we would do too. We would do nice glass rentals. So if somebody wanted to rent a bong or a pipe, something like that, or if they wanted to buy a pipe, we'd have that there.
Another one of my great ideas from back in the day.
Yeah, bong rentals. Yeah. We're going to steal another one called Serial Killer Sundays.
Oh, my God. You're killing me right now.
So are you guys going to like regular...
That's it. I'm coming down with
We're making Amsterdam happen in the East Coast right now.
I'm coming with my lawyers.
So are you running movies frequently and stuff like that?
What's that?
Are you running movies frequently? Because you have a movie theater and that's awesome?
Right now, we just have the projector, and it's basically just us in there.
Okay, so now since you're into stealing all my ideas, you got to do the Cheech and Chong interactive at your place.
Yeah, you guys need to put that together.
And then since you have a theater, you don't have to worry about raining out like we did today. Today we have massive amounts of rain, and I was supposed to do I was going to do Cheech and Chong interactive, so you basically make sure you have the giant joint there ready for them. You make sure you have the pizza ready for them. All the right scenes, you just got to like nail it, So please do it and make sure and get some press on that for me.
Oh, and the other thing we can do is we can do the Culture High. Remember, they hit us up with the preview.
Okay.
And they need places to show it, so that might be a cool
We might have some gigs for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
So,
definitely. The East Coast needs as much attention as possible because our laws really are good right now. So, there's a couple that have changed, but it's really a good state to experience the program. And not have to go to.
Well, it's great that they actually have dispensaries now. Because when I was there last time, they didn't even have. Nothing. They were talking. Is it the same guy? Is it those same guys?
Yeah, as they are. It's still good to have the option where people can now just walk into a store. And the same thing that's on the open on Front Street. Like, here's your store, but they kick you right out of there after you buy it. No sitting in your car. So everybody doesn't want to take notes of the fact that people actually smoke this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's the crazy part.
That's the discussion.
It's like hello guys, And my biggest argument for the whole thing has always been that cannabis is a social medicine, and you have to use it that way, or it's not really that. It's not as productive.
Medicine.
You know what I mean?
That's the
same as even alcohol. If you didn't have bars and everybody just drank at home, there'd be so many more miserable people because they wouldn't have that social life. And some of the people, obviously they might take it too far or whatever. But then there's also the people that do use it the way it's supposed to be used socially.
Yeah, there's always people that will push things too far. It's the same thing. I don't really drink alcohol, but the same thing. I feel ostracized in a bar because I'm not drinking. Like, I have a soda. It's like, but if I could light up my spliff, and smoke with these people while they're, then I'm going to come.
Then chaos would ensue.
I'm going to be in your public. Like, we are consumers. We're not hoarders. We're trying to be out and participate in society. That's basically it.
And I think, to Adam's point, for a lot of people, some people who are not necessarily all the time regularly totally socially adjusted or comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like leaving my house really and dealing with people if I'm like in a place where I can't smoke. It's just that's not how I'm wired. But obviously, I don't mind interacting with people when I've had a couple puffs here and there.
Yeah, anybody who's simply educated can tell that cannabis brings people together, and there's no. You look at the cup out in Colorado. There was no. I don't think there was one incident of violence that happened.
No, one guy punched a speaker. There was a guy who punched a speaker.
Really?
Yeah, he got mad. He got mad at the speaker and punched it. So there wasn't actually any real violence.
Yeah, no, just man-on-machine violence, which is something that I like to practice.
Like, right now, I'm in the hip-hop industry and in the world with that and crossing paths with people, and it's like you see the social aspect there where it's like you got us like wood-grown like white boys like doing our thing, and now it's like the hip hop culture is appreciating the ganja aspect now and putting it more on that pop culture aspect, So it's bringing all sorts of crazy people together. That's funny to collab.
Yeah, it's funny. Like even when, it's quite funny. In Amsterdam, every time I'd hook up Snoop, I always had the craziest beard, or looked like he always like, who's the crazy wood chopper guy? You know what I mean? And then he's like, but didn't give a shit as long as I gave him good weed. That's all that mattered. You know what I mean? And after a while, he looked beyond all this. He always looks crazy. Every time I came, I always had the worst looking beard, probably like just scrappled.
Yeah, we're working right now. We're working with Noriega. Him and Capone are just coming back, and he's been pushing the pharmacist authorities He's been pushing it.
Nice.
Good.
Dude, the one thing that I've found combining hip-hop artists and cannabis in events and in general is, Adam, you may have found this too, you give them the dabs after the set.
Definitely.
After the set.
Dab up the artist.
Yeah, he knows what's up. Definitely
So
Jordan knows
after
what
the
he's
show.
learned. He's learned that one too.
Yeah, that's the
We
number
learned
one
that.
lesson.
Every hip hop show in Amsterdam was about 3.5 hours late, and it was the worst performance you've ever seen. And the only reason I liked them is because I knew that I got them so high that's why they sucked so bad.
So I got it. Yeah, you were just proud. You didn't like the set.
No,
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
that's the other thing. You'll get like a crowd that normally will have fights, but then you bring them together for a weed show, and they don't even like, there's no provocation.
yeah, I mean, it's like when we had Raekwon, I was all nervous when
Yeah,
you did
we
your
ra-
party, when you did your party.
We'll
there.
talk about that in the history of the Hoodlab one because I
Oh,
think that may be it's on the wall. So I feel
Yeah,
like it's.
but
a
it was
highlight
definitely
the
one
wall.
of those moments where I was like, I don't know if I really want to have anybody from the Woo in my shop.
Like
'cause
Raekwon and DJ Premier. It's kind of going to pull the wrong
it could go
crowd.
nuts, but then not at all.
No,
Absolutely
totally
opposite.
chill
I was like,
vibes.
where the hell are
I mean,
you?
Wu-Tang's legendary. Same with like Norian. We just got shouted out by Raekwon and Noriega in their song "Medical Theory." It was
Nice,
Nice.
fucking
nice,
awesome.
very nice. We got to hook up with. Oh, this is a good moment. Shouts to Styles P's Juice Bar, dude.
Oh yeah,
My
yeah,
little brother went in there. Styles P and Jadakiss's Juice Bar. I think they're listening right now. Fruits of Life.
That'd be
Juice
cool.
Bar.
Definitely.
Oh, dope! Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Kiss is killing it right now. Back doing shows with the
Yeah.
Locks and stuff.
So,
So tell us
Came
about
through
the
town.
event.
your
tell us
event
about
in
the event
August.
coming up. Give us a little idea on what's going down with lineups and stuff.
Well, music for the festival, we're gonna have DJs on the stage all day during the day festival, 1 to 7, and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna, instead of doing the awards like we did last year with the show, we're gonna just do straight after party style to keep the party going Saturday night up in Providence.
Uh-huh.
We got a nightclub booked out, so we got a special guest artist coming. My artist will be there, Focus 401 from Rhode Island. He'll be opening up for the other people and doing a collab.
Is this like a secret thing you can't tell yet until you sign the
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
I
We're gonna
got you.
keep the
I
artist
got
2
you.
weeks in, we're gonna do our radio campaign and then announce who we got. But it'll be good. Last year we had Noriega. Hopefully, I think he's gonna come through again as a guest. Like he might be in the crowd. Hopefully, he might do something too. But we got something good in the works right now.
Yeah, no, it's usually that way. If you haven't signed it, don't talk about it because then it goes wrong.
Yep, every
yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah, you never. I've learned that same thing too.
It's
yeah,
another
you
lesson,
don't
another
have-
hard lesson to learn in this industry and,
Yeah.
and in every
Yeah.
industry, really. Like just before until you sign that paper, just trying to keep it quiet.
Until it's signed and in your
Yeah.
safety deposit box. Yeah.
Yeah, until they've cashed your check.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so it's 2-day event or how's it working out?
Yeah. Tell us about the
Yeah,
event.
we're doing it 2 days this year. We'll have vendors both days at the Stepping Stone Ranch. It's we
Where's
got
that?
probably 22 vendors signed up so far. Different ones. We got like Clean Roots, this new platform out of Rhode Island. It's pretty cool. A lot of different grow stores. Big support from there's like Grow With Us, Live to Grow, Grow RI. They threw out a lot.
Is there any shops that don't have the word "grow" in it?
Yeah.
God. It's like, come on, guys, come on now. There's more words
Yeah.
than "grow." Yeah, but here, I mean, and also,
We're also doing concentrates this year. We're doing ice wax category and then BHO category. So
and you got
we
Jerome
lots
Baker
of
on board
support
too. I
from that.
heard
What's that?
you got Jerome Baker on board also.
That's what we heard. You heard that same thing.
I heard that. That's what I heard. That's what I've
Yeah,
been hearing.
that's what I heard. That's what I heard. Jerome Baker's going to throw out a lot of support and give us some glass for the judges and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
we've always been a fan of Jason Harris. He's first bongs I've ever bought before you could even call them bongs.
Right. Yeah. And he actually in '93 when he came out to Amsterdam, he came out with a bunch of like a crew of kids, and they ended up just sort of like setting up shop at my place. I made deals with them that I was like, just pay me in glass, you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to get any money out of these kids. And I've told this story before, but basically I told them I just want heavy. I want the heaviest stuff. I don't want this thin stuff. And then they all just took the piss and started throwing marbles on top of marbles on top of marbles. You know what I mean? And I was like, because I was paying them by weight. I was like, throw it on the scale. You know what I mean? And then I was like, you guys are taking the piss. Right? This is like unbelievable.
Michael Bridie of Mood Mats. He's the one who pulled that together. He's a great dude. Yeah, a lot of people know him in the industry. He'll be there too. He'll have his booth set up.
Yeah, his stuff's great. It's funny with his things too because they really, at first when you look at them, you're like, oh, what is the point? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like
then you spend some money on glass, and then you want to keep your stuff safe.
And then once you start using it and putting your piece on it, and you start to realize, like, hey, this is actually useful.
Yeah, extremely.
And then
it's a great product too. It's totally recycled. He's nailed it with it.
Yeah, it's like upcycled even. It's from garbage. It's from
like
used wetsuits, right?
Yeah. Which just means there's a lot of pee in there.
And neoprene and stuff. Yeah.
You got to watch out with that.
Ton of pee.
I told him, I was like, how do you get all the
warm.
pee out of those things? Because those things have been peed in so many times. So yeah, but it's a cool, definitely a cool product, and I'm impressed that it's, gone so far. Actually, it's just like one of those.
Yeah,
he keeps
and that's the thing with this industry. There's so many grassroots small companies, like no pun intended, but that just are going to take off.
Yeah, no, it's
down to anything.
It's how this industry works too. It's like people don't get it, but especially if you're not in the industry, they just see it as like stoner stuff. But what we have. Oh, you got something?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, like, so for listeners in New York, we have a bunch of listeners in New York, New Jersey area. How far away are you? Like, how long's the drive? Tell them about the event.
2 hours and 15 minutes from the New York border. It's really not that far, straight down 95. And there's camping across the street and a lot of hotels and stuff that aren't like overpriced stuff. They don't.
So what can they look for? Sell them the event a little bit. Tell people, why should people from New York who don't like driving anywhere drive 2 hours?
Well, they should come because of our decrim program, and they're totally decrim on the way as long as they got up to a half an ounce. Connecticut's decrim, Rhode Island's decrim. And as far as medical patients from across the country, Rhode Island is one of the few states that actually has reciprocity. So
yeah, that's
cool.
As
far as Colorado, we can't come there and use our cards, but you can come here and use your cards here.
For all two shops.
Yeah. Or for caregivers, just for carrying.
You can't use them in the shops. You're not allowed to go into the dispensary.
Oh, really?
You can have that. You can grow. You can have the 2.5.
So while you're there for like a weekend, you can grow yourself.
Pop some beans.
Pop some beans while I'm here on the weekend. Should be cropping out by Sunday.
Sea of green, man. Sea of green.
Sea of green. Just short fetch.
Yeah, see if you can get anything done in 3 days.
Yeah, but I think it's still, people should go. It sounds like it'll be a good time. There's entertainment. There's vendors.
Yeah, it's gonna be live entertainment. Tons of great people. Like we'll have a tent set up. People who get the VIP passes that are caregivers or patients, they'll get free samples. They'll get dabbed out all day. Last year we didn't have a single complaint, and we didn't even have to ask anybody to leave. It was just the strong survived at the end. Come 8 o'clock, there was 6 of us around the table still smoking dab.
Yeah, you're making it sound like Mad Max in there, but it's
one man answer.
Yeah.
Or 2 men answer, one man
people
leave.
just leave peaceably when they get irie.
Yeah, that's the other challenge is you bring your good strain, but then we do who's the last man standing at the end of the night.
Nice. We know that one.
It's usually me.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. I'd like to see the East Coast finally.
Well, what's the date of it? It's August what?
23rd, 22nd, 23rd?
23rd and 24th,
Oh,
yep,
23rd.
at SKE,
I would've missed
Rhode
it.
Island, and Stepping Stone Ranch. They can check out CannabisAllStars.com or thePharmacist.com.
Can you spell the pharmacist? Is it F-A-R?
It's FARMACIST.
Cool.
Same as on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh, you're on it. Cool. And we'll link all that in the show notes
Yep.
as well for people to link up. And can people buy tickets, or how does that work?
Yeah, right now we got the tickets at all the major sponsors. We have the day passes, and then we do a guest list. We have only 200 VIP passes that we do, and they'll check in that day and get their lanyards and stuff, and double check their cards and everything like that.
And if they're out of state, can they get tickets online?
Yep, out-of-state tickets can get CannabisAllStars.com/tickets. That's where they can get the day passes and the VIP package.
Adam, are you going out?
And that's 3-day
I'm gonna
access for the $100.
I don't know, Mitch. I think you need to bring Mitch out. Actually,
I'm gonna-
too, so
I'm gonna
we can do the show from there. That could be a possibility. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
that would be cool. That would be cool.
So,
we'll shop that idea around.
I will shop.
Home
Yeah,
base.
exactly. I
There'll
will give you
definitely
the
be some
info.
heavy hitters there for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well-
It sounds like it could be.
OGT, the other one's Jeff Webb and Bobby Creek from OGT. They threw a lot of support. Actually, they're one of the West Coast companies hitting it hard.
Right on.
Yeah, and I wish. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope that more people, get especially from people from Cali. They all think like it's all about Cali, but it's be an eye-opening experience to hit. I mean, not only because most people don't go to Rhode Island, they end up in New York or Boston or some other town, but to hit Rhode Island for that and having a really good event to go to is definitely worth it. And I think it's also, again, like it's like watching.
Yeah,
It's almost like watching. It's like time travel because you go there and then you'll see what Rhode Island's like, and then you'll see how the next state's going to end up being like. Because
Right.
it starts to every state is following suit on the other ones. It can't all be like Colorado.
No, and you can do the Dunkin' Donuts challenge.
And you can do the Dunkin' Donuts challenge, exactly.
I mean, and we were the first event on the East Coast to go down like this, for sure, in history. And we were definitely the first people to smoke out a club at the Fet in Providence that let us, they respected people's cars.
Yeah,
people buying beers next to people taking dabs at the bar. And
it was a pretty awesome experience.
And it was all legit? It wasn't just like...
Oh, no, it was legit.
The fire alarms went off, and we had to kick out 400 people out of the venue, and still no police came. They cleared the building, and we went right back in and just continued.
Yeah, that was one of those classic... That was one of those classic moments, too. Like, fire... Really? Fire alarms going off.
At least not sprinklers. At least not
sprinklers. I won't say
sprinklers.
names, but they're downstairs in the one room. They're still not to smoke in. But
oh yeah. No, I remember that too. I remember that exactly. Yeah, no, it's classic.
It happens. That's the other one. That's one of those things you just learn. That's going to happen. Wherever people aren't supposed to smoke, they're going to smoke there.
For sure.
So you shouldn't even tell them about the place you really don't want them to smoke because they won't find it.
I'll even throw. I think it was Bobby Nuggs, one of our
nice.
Of course, it was Bobby Nuggs
down there blazing up.
Of course, it was.
So really, you should just tell him not to smoke in like a closet that nothing can go wrong in, and he'll be in there.
Yeah.
Well, right on. We want to thank you for coming on the show, Jordan. We got
no harassment at all, nothing.
We're gonna move along here. We got some music, I believe, from the man from somewhere else, Wet Orange Marmalade.
Thanks, Jordan, man. Awesome. I'll see you in a few
Cool.
weeks.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, definitely. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you guys.
And you can check these guys out at Smoker's Cough. You can they're on Bandcamp, and you can download the album or buy the album.
Past the hours, stash get rationed out. A half an ounce of hash and some grass I can't pronounce. Call me quick, these corny chicks bore me sick. Give me a horny, naughty, gaudy, shorty, dip that 40 sip. Brain fried, take 5 and remain live at the same time. All the girls amazed, all the world's a stage dive. Can't stop the flood, be on the block with Buddy, copping druggy, rocking nothing but a snuggie. Blood laying Tron with Porsches, ain't nothing wrong with flossing. She straight bombing the foreskin, I use a thong to floss. He's a very strange guy, punk rock silly, drum chop AOI, never say die, one eye Willie. The type of hater, the biting player, night sprayer, left the mic flavor like a white lifesaver. At the store dead, I'm more meds, pedal to the floor, rev, snitches get stitches, bitches get war flocks of seagulls, rock illegal, spread eagle, we dope, East Coast, copping petty, going to red peak, magic adjectives, roll up a fatty with cracks in the got this, drop hot shit, laxative, beer goggle, the rear model, swallow beer bottle, she'll take it in the rear tonsils, ear nostrils, went to bed, she looked fancy, shrimp scampi, woke up, she looked like Dan V and pansies, selfish, selfish, shellfish, Celtics, helmeted, melted, felt it, smelt it, spelt it, to hell with it, fortified it with my swag on autopilot, see all y'all my shit live, she get porta potty, no one is cooler, cause school of Bueller, drums get neutered, dumb computer hackers, smacking nuns with go in, real life adult swim, Wolf Town is Jonestown, post gym, oh shit.
I'm your co-host, Mitch Shenassa, and Adam Dunn himself is putting his headphones on. Let's take a minute to shout out Way to Grow. Definitely huge supporters of the show. I was checking out. There's today and tomorrow is the last 2 days.
I was going to tell you that.
Yeah, of the Keep It Cool sale. So all can fans and filters. Good time for that for sure. And then also on their Facebook page, if you want to see bare naked ladies, dude, only one person had entered. You just have to share this Facebook post at the Botanical Gardens.
I know, but
no, it's Ryan.
If only one person's entered.
Dude, hop on the Facebook
if you
right
get
now.
On, then you have a 50% chance.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Like it says you have to like and share it, and like 6 people had liked it, but only one person had shared it. And then they posted like, remember to share it, and no other people had shared it when I came here today.
There you go.
So Way to Grow on Facebook. Yeah.
And they're giving out other tickets too, right? Not
something. Yeah, I think it's like all season long.
Arise Festival.
Oh yeah, right. Well, that's Boulder Wellness too. We're going to talk about their Arise Festival giveaway.
Oh,
that's their big giveaways? Thing. Yeah, you can get tickets to Arise Festival all over. Shouts to Incredibles.
Best edibles in the universe.
I made an awesome chart of all their edibles for us to have, and I made like a whole table of them.
I know all of them off the top of my head.
Go ahead. You got 49 seconds.
We have the Boulder Bar, we have the Monkey Bar, we have the Strawberry Bar, we have the Peanut Butter Buddha, the Mile High and the Mile Higher, the Fireberry Bar, the Firecracker Bar, depending on whatever time you want to have it, the Makiba Bar, and then I believe there's a Cookies and Cream Bar. There's definitely a Peaches and Dream Bar, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty close. There might be
too short.
Yup, that's you are at
Blueberry.
11.
Was there a
the
blueberry?
Blueberry Bliss Bar is
you
the other
see.
one.
Oh yeah, there you go. What else?
That might be all of them,
that's
except you
all.
got to do the gummies. There's 4
And now they
flavors
have
of
the
gummies and the
But the new
Incredibles.
ad was awesome. Now powered by Incredible Extracts that I saw in the THC.
Nice,
So yeah, it's
nice.
pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, and they are also bringing out their own extractor. All sorts of good stuff coming from them.
Yeah,
They're
making
definitely
moves.
making big moves in the industry. And also Boulder Wellness.
Yeah, Ryan. So Ryan, what's
I
going
was
on
in
there?
Boulder Wellness yesterday, and they're in between concentrate companies right now. So you guys have to stop in and check it out because they're having a bunch of different companies run their product.
It's a little competition.
Yeah, so we're going to pretty much, I think they had Boulder Pharma Labs on there, TC Labs was on there. I know that they still have Colorado Concentrates on there.
So they're doing like almost their own
like a
concentrate
mini cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're giving this little piece. Let us know what you think, what's better. So I
Wait,
had
they
some
just
of
give
the-
it to you?
Well, no, they give you a piece of paper with it, say what you think is best. So yeah, I had some of the
I was
Be Well
like,
Kush from
let's go.
Boulder Pharma yesterday. So yeah, it was good. And always the most proper nug in town.
Nice. Yeah, check out Boulder Wellness 5420 Arapahoe in
Good
Boulder.
job, you remembered it.
Nice.
Good job.
Also, shout out to Build a Soil, buildasoil.com. They still have that promo code Adam Dunn, and it's like the fatty hookup on everything in the store. I think that's still rocking. And of course, you can go on there and get the free reports from last week's show, the integrated pest management, and the week before, where was the organic soil. There's just a ton of free stuff you can get there. So check it out, buildasoil.com. So let's bring it back. This is fun. Now I get to just talk with that. We get to have a conversation.
It's a
Adam.
little interview now.
It's not it's a conversation. If
Oh,
I
I
say
thought
interview, you get
Yeah,
nervous.
we need like interview
He
sound
gets
music.
nervous. No.
Like 60-60.
Do I get
ticking
nervous?
clock.
2020, not
2020?
60-60.
30-30 is the app we use, right?
30-30 is our app.
So
That's
many-
exactly
so many
funny.
numbers.
So, I mean, if we're talking about smoking clubs,
Mm-hmm.
now I never went to Cannabis in Amsterdam. CIA.
I know that was before your time.
Before my time.
What were you, like 14 then or something?
I don't know. What year was it? That's what.
93?
I was
3.
12.
I was 3.
12. There you go.
12.
So you were dreaming your dreams.
Dreaming my dreams.
CIA was the first sort of shop, you could call it, I guess, because it was kind of funny. The way we do our stuff is winging it every time, you know?
Well,
Seat of
obviously.
your pants
Goes
on
without
every industry. Yeah, and I think it keeps everybody, you know,
On their toes.
on their toes. So basically, CIA was, I was working at the Hash Museum.
So tell people about the Hash Museum if they've never been to Amsterdam. 'Cause
Okay,
I've
so-
been to Amsterdam. I've never been to the Hash Museum. but-
Well, the Hash Museum is in the red light, of course, so it's not your typical museum. And it was kind of funny because I was there with my mom, actually, in '89. Like, it's the first time I came there, and then my mom was in England, and she flew over to see me. And then we were walking around in Amsterdam, and she actually pointed out the sign and said, "Yeah, you should get a job there," you know, jokingly. This was like literally the first week I was there.
So you were already obviously all crazy about weed.
Oh yeah, she knew it. Like, she knew I was all about weed. But then, so about a month later, I was hanging out at Homegrown Fantasy all the time. That was like my spot, and that's it's the only at that time it was the only coffee shop that sold their own weed and only their own weed, and they made their own hash. They didn't do any import. There was no imported weed. There was no imported hash. So I was all about that, and. But they also, like, you know, one of the noticed in the shops there is there was nothing to do. You know what I mean? You just sit there,
Yeah, smoke
weed.
weed.
Sometimes there's a backgammon game or whatever, and it was just kind of like, you know. So I decided to take one of Jack's books and photocopy a bunch of stuff out of it and make my own like condensed version, and so people wouldn't like have
Like a
to
packet,
read.
yeah.
Yeah, so like just took like a regular photo album, you know, and made my own little version of it. So the guy who owned the shop was like, "You really like this hemp stuff?" He was just, you know, because he hadn't seen anybody with so much passion on it, you know. And he's like, "Well, my friends own the Hash Museum, so let me see if I can get you a job there." And so I called my mom. I'm like, "Guess who got a job?" And she's like, "What?" I'm
How
like,
long after how long before that happened had she said that?
Like about a month. or
That's
so.
really
yeah.
funny.
So she
So yeah, it's
predicted
close
it.
enough for
She
it to-
She made
predicted
it happen,
She predicted
manifested
it
it.
pretty fast, and then. You know, the whole thing about the Hash Museum was it was the Hash Museum back then. Now it's the Hemp Cannabis and Hemp Museum.
Right.
You know, and
Before it was just the Hash
it
Museum.
was just called the Hash
I did
Museum.
not know that.
And so when it was the Hash Museum, it was kind of like, it was definitely a tourist trap in a sense. I mean, it was like you rolled in and you're like, wait a minute, my garage is bigger than this. You know what I mean? So it was like
just like dioramas and shit. Like
well,
I hate them.
it was like a typical Amsterdam style shop. They're not very big, you know what I mean? So it was like they had some great stuff in there as far as historical bits, but it was really focused on like smuggling and kind of the stuff that isn't really what you want to talk about. You know what I mean? Why do you want to show people how they smuggle? That's now you cannot smuggle that way anymore, you know? So
Yeah, exactly. Like an interactive.
well, they had like,
insert the hash.
Yeah,
Kids,
they
insert
had like
the hash up the butt.
they had like a dildo that was cut open with a big slab hash coming out of it and stuff, and it was just like, you know, that was like their kind of way of being.
That's like a police museum has all that shit.
It felt like that in a sense, you know what I mean? And then they had a grow in there. They had a small grow, and it was always really bad,
like dirtiest grow in the world.
like, you know. And it was one of those. So when I got in there, I really felt like it was my job to get the garden looking better, and also to add more hemp into the thing, because it was like, well, I think hemp's a bigger story. You know, this is like you're also in Amsterdam, which they made all their money from hemp. I mean, that's what people don't realize. The golden age of Holland was the biggest hemp. Holland was only growing massive amounts of hemp to make ships to go to places to take their stuff.
I
Basically,
heard
that was their whole mission in life.
I read that our word canvas comes from the
Cannabis.
Dutch, which is just cannabis.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's like canvas sales, canvas
Yep.
that you paint on. That's Dutch
And
cannabis.
And I mean,
yeah.
the thing that was interesting about the museum was that it was like, you know, it was run by Sensi Seeds. So they made a ton of money on Sensi Seeds, and the museum was kind of like their just little project on the side, you know. But then they really revamped the place. Chris Conrad came in, who wrote. He was the editor for the Emperor, but I would consider him to be the writer almost, because
like ghostwriter almost.
Yeah, I mean, Jack definitely was a mouthpiece, and he could definitely talk the talk. But when it came to like really getting that information,
Fact research
plus
and
it was
stuff,
written.
yeah.
If you read the Emperor, it's written in a way that you can back up every single thing that's in there, which is awesome. You know, it's done proper.
Right.
It's like you're actually in school or something, because you've got some evidence to prove what, you know, the articles that it came from, and or the project that it came from. So but in general, yeah, the museum was kind of like it's definitely lackluster as far as what you got for your $6 when you rolled in, you know what I mean? But then I got Tony a job there from Sagar Mother Seeds. So I kind of moved up the scale and went over to Sensi, because I want.
That's your entry point to Sensi. You start.
Yeah. So I first started the museum, and you just push the button, ching, you know, hello, how many people, ching. So that gets old pretty fast. And I mean, but I love to be for me, it was a dream come true, because I'm 21 years old. I'm in Amsterdam, and I'm the curator of the Hash Museum. So I mean, at that time, there was the only place like it in the world. You know? Now, of course, I get to watch other people live the dream. But it's just funny because it's 20 plus years later, and it's like the same story just repeated over and over again.
Well, the history of hash is only extended by like 1%, right? Like it's not like the
well, now,
museum's gonna be
and the
there.
funny part is now, between like back then, it was real traditional hash information. You know what I mean? It was where it came from. It was like, now it's people, especially here in America, most people have never smoked Moroccan hash. They haven't tried charas unless they're older or they traveled, or so. There's not as much of a base to work off of, you know. So then I got a job at Sensi, and then worked there for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, and then it was kind of like I was getting bored of that too. And I had another friend of mine who was working there, and him and I had similar ideas. He was more the activist, more of an activist, and I was kind of like, dude, we're in Amsterdam. What do we need to do? We need to like get out there and tell people that we should be able to smoke weed. You know, like we can smoke weed.
It's already done. It's already done.
So it was like, to me, it didn't seem as important, but I did see, because this was in '95, right? So he decided to move, or it was '93 when we started, but in '95 he moved back to America, to California, because he saw the light was about to happen there, you know, and it really did. And just to see, like, to be part of all those time frames is really like awesome, because you can kind of go back now and see, you know, that even though it felt like I was kind of hiding almost over there, I was like, I'm not going back to America. I was never planning on coming back. You know, I was like, this is a dream come true. But then now this dream has been replicated over and over and over again. And you could pretty much do everything that we did there. You can have a hash museum here. You could do all the
except smoking club. Yeah. Well, I guess on Rhode Island.
It's starting.
So how'd you get from working with Sensi to the CIA?
Well, I mean, basically, we borrowed some money from a friend of mine, partnered up with my steel partner Doug from Hoodlab, and he is quite interesting because I'm like the East Coast stoner guy, and he's like the West Coast surfers guy, you know. So we are completely opposite. He smokes, but not like to the level that I was smoking, and so we definitely balanced each other out because he went, you know, he went for a quite funny because he was in '89 going for real estate, which is the worst time period to do real estate because it's right when the bubble burst and everything went down. So he ended up going out. He was on his way to the Olympics, and he got sidetracked in Amsterdam. And then we never let him go. Basically, we're like, "No, we're starting this company. You should be part of this." You know what I mean? So we basically, literally, just threw it together. And the reason that we did it was because we were asked by Chris Conrad, the same guy that was I was talking about earlier. He was asked by High Times to do the cup, and so he was like,
"This is the first cup, or
this is the sixth."
Sixth.
So there was already 5 cups before that, but basically what was happening was it was this like kind of like a hangout, and everybody kind of got together, did it like at maybe dinner. They would like smoke a bunch of different things, write a story, done. There was no real event, you know. So we were unaware of that. we thought there was a big event. I was under the impression that this thing was already huge in my mind, you know. So when we were asked, we were like, yes, we'll definitely do it. So I quit working at Sensi. We rented a place right downtown, big by Dutch standards, you know, like probably about 5,000 square feet or so. So very big by Dutch standards. And but it was definitely like funky and old and, you know, impossible for us to ever make it like really nice. So we just made it comfy, you know, and couches and big TVs and whatever we could do to make it a little bit more comfy. But it was just the fact that people were so comfortable there that, you know, and I lived upstairs, so I would just wake up in the morning and let some people in and make some sales, seed sales or whatever. And about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, guys got to get going, I think, now. So it was not a normal shop ever. It was very much the comfy hangout spot.
So people just showed up, hung out there, smoked.
Yeah, and we were the only people selling seeds besides Sensi and Positronics at that time.
And could you smoke in those places?
Posi had a great setup. At Sensi, we smoked every day, all day where we worked,
but like a tourist.
I mean, you could because we had a table and you could just chill out with us, but there was no setup. You know what I mean? It wasn't like made for it. But then Werner from Positronics, he actually he owned like the whole street of his shop. Like he just kept taking over the next spot and taking over the next spot. So when you went into one door, you actually would like kind of make your way through the whole block and go through.
Oh, that's really cool.
It was very cool setup, and he had a bar there set up, and you could pretty much donate. It was kind of like how we're, you know, how people are doing it here in Colorado. Donate some donation. Now you can smoke. So he wasn't really selling it.
Right.
But Vernon actually was the very first guy to open up a coffee shop. He opened up the Mellow Yellow. So
what year was that?
I think it was around 72.
Wow.
Mellow Yellow?
Yeah.
Isn't that a soda?
Now it is a soda.
It's also a song by Donovan.
Sweet.
Yes. Exactly, and they had it set up like a yellow submarine. It was pretty dope. Like it looked
cool.
it looked like you were in a submarine when you were there. So they had some. I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, the creative side of it all is what makes it fun. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go
bunch
to
of tables where you're smoking weed is not.
It's
awesome.
not. Yeah, it's nice to give a little bit of atmosphere or something. So basically, yeah, we just kind of, again, flying by the seat of our pants, ran it, and then it became such a hot spot because we had Rob Clark, we had Dave Watson, we had all the big shots that are out there.
They just hung out there, or they came through from time to time?
Came through, hung out. You know, at one point it was really good. I had Rob Clark, I had Mel Frank, Ed Rosenthal, and Jorge at the same time, and they were all coming to take photos of the sage. But I kind of they were all in town, so I invited them all, and I invited them all at the exact same time, not realizing that they all pretty much hated each other. You know what I mean? At that time period, it was like, you know, like Mel Frank and Ed worked together, and they hadn't talked in like 15 years until that day when I kind of forced them into the room together.
It's like that James Bond villain when he's like, everyone shows up at the beginning of an Austin Powers movie.
Kind of, yeah. And that was what Amsterdam. That's what really the CIA became. It was like this real weird. Like, I don't know how many times people walked in, and I'm talking to somebody, and then someone else walks in, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" You know what I mean? It happened so many times, and it'd be like, "I haven't seen this guy in 15, 20, whatever. And it was like always some magic moments there, and that's kind of, I mean, we've seen it here too. We've seen it, as we moved on.
Especially during cup time and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think it's more the real coincidental ones where, because, it's almost like when, it's like when you meet somebody's parents, you kind of solidify what that person is, if they're, good people, bad people, whatever.
Right.
Same as if you're talking to somebody and then someone else comes in and they're old friends. Now you're good with both of them because, it shows that magnetism that we have,
Right.
And that's kind of where it's always been. Like if you come down to the lab here, sometimes you'll be like amazed at how many different people are coming through.
There's a cool like hallowed ground thing to the lab too, where like, beef just doesn't fly there. Like
only Norton.
Really, he beefs at the lab?
No, the one time. It's the only beef we ever had was Norton beefing with Scott Green.
So that was Crunchy's buddy, Scott Green.
That was actually
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Shouts to you.
Shout out to Scott Green.
So that was the only beef we've ever had.
So what year did
it was a typical stoner beef too. It didn't go very far.
Yeah, it's not exactly beef.
It did not.
That's still tofu, man. So what year did the CIA shut down?
It's crazy. We were only there for 2 years, and in those 2 years, so much happened.
It was just the 2 years to be there, huh?
Yeah, and this has become my curse, the 2-year curse I keep having. Like now, the first shop here when I came back in Santa Fe, exactly 2 years. Now this new shop, exactly 2 years. It's like my relationships with women go on for 10, 15 years, but my relationships in stores go about 2 years, and then I max out, and I'm like, I'm out.
I'm out. Well, it's just a matter of finding the right one, because that's,
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's one of the things we're on the hunt right now. So
yeah.
So let's talk about the first Hood Lab in the States, dude. Like that's where I met you on that cup trip, but we where I got to know you was parked in that now sold limo behind that lab.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration to do the art gallery piece? Did you have that going at the CIA?
No, not at all. That was mostly Cece, and Cece and I both love art, and she's got lots of good connections with artists over in Amsterdam because she's quite into the tattoo world, and we felt that we could bring that element over here, and that's one of the things. Like the Belgian Bar is a real famous place in Amsterdam where a lot of street artists hang out, and it's about as big as this room, but you'll have some of the best artists in the world coming through, and that's kind of what was the inspiration, I think, was that bar more than our shop, because obviously the hemp stuff we love because that's what we're passionate about, but the art really brings together the like different. I mean, you're bringing in people from all over the world. They all have the same sort of passions. And it doesn't cost a lot. It's not like you have
street art for sure.
It's something where it's very tangible. And amazingly enough, it was very it was weird because when we first opened up the Hood Lab here in Santa Fe, being in the art district, I mean, part of the
was that intentional or was that just how that happened?
Yeah, no, it was totally intentional. And the thing is that we went down there and I saw the Womp truck and I just said, really? You could have a Womp truck in the middle of this? This doesn't make sense to
me.
And
for non-Denverites, the Womp truck is like a sound system, a proper sound system.
Proper sound system.
Bumps dubstep.
And they, so just the idea that there was like a street vibe every first Friday, and it definitely seemed like that was the pull for us. And it worked out really well because we brought in a lot of new people that wouldn't.
Well, I think about the people I met. That was one of the cool things where I ran into that dude from Day in the Life magazine. Mm-hmm. I ran into him because he came in and he saw graffiti stuff. Yep. And then he was like, "You're going out back to do what?" I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm just here to smoke weed. You're going back and smoke weed."
No, for sure. And the thing is, the first place was 1,200 square feet, so it wasn't very big. And obviously we maxed it out. We got a call.
Come Crunchy, and everyone went through the lab. Crunchy, I definitely ran into you there multiple times.
Yeah, I was there a lot.
Yeah.
So we got a caller on the line. Let's check who that is. Who we got on the line?
Oh, this is Jeff from Dewey Mister.
Hey, Dewey Mister. How you doing there? Haven't talked to you for a little while. How's it going?
Great. I just wanted to see how everything's been going with you, dude. I know I left some stuff out there and check it out, and
yeah, you remember the Dewey Mister?
Somebody told me to give you a call, so
yeah, for sure. We're actually on our final days at my spot in Denver, so we're kind of winding down with that. But I've definitely put your product out there. got some interest and stuff. So you come where are you out of at anyway? Where are you based out of?
Florida, down here. I didn't know you were shutting your shop down.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, it's not on it's not on my note actually.
Yeah, we're not shutting down, moving.
We're moving. So it's going to be a new location, but yeah, you're lucky you got to go check it out when you were out here.
Oh, it's a bomb, dude. I mean, wow, I blew my mind. Ed Rosenthal was there. All them cats were there. I never even imagined walking in a room and meeting everybody like that just out of the blue. So
yeah, no,
that place, all the art on the walls, and the limo back there, and the atmosphere, and oh yeah, bro, you blow it out of the water for real.
Well, thanks. That's awesome to hear. I mean, and that's the thing. Florida is definitely on the cusp right now to become the next spot, I think, because it's right now it's New York and Florida. That's all I hear about. So I feel like give it 3 to 5 years and there'll be places like this all over America, hopefully,
Yeah, but
well, not maybe as unique as mine.
It's going to be a lot sweatier in Florida.
A lot sweatier, for sure.
Yeah, I just had some conversations today with that subject, actually, and yeah, people are excited. So I'm loving that idea, for real.
Well, great. I'm glad you called in.
I'd like to see you set up a fancy little club around somewhere so I can go check it out again. That's for sure. So,
well, I got people in Florida that definitely are following what we're doing, and they are ready to do it themselves. So I'll keep you updated on that for sure. I still got all your info.
Nice, bro. Well, I'll let you get back to what you're doing, man. Thanks a lot for rapping with me, though.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, and anybody else out there, if you feel like you want to call and tell us about what you saw or felt or, had changed, how the lab changed you. Maybe.
Yeah, dude, I kind of want to hear from especially, it's cool to get the East Coasters' perspective on that because for us, it's almost like passe. You walk in, and it's not even like there are so many spots in Colorado like it, but if you go to the lab, you don't go there just once, and you go there so much, it becomes like, oh, yeah, I'm coming here and whatever. But for an East Coaster to walk in, I think it's like a fairly like, what the fuck? This is freedom, man.
Yeah, and that's our whole goal with the original Hood Lab and the new one, and for the next one, is just to bring that feeling that we had in the dam when we, and it wasn't even, again, it's the same thing over there. It was like people came to my store, and it was a clothing store, but I let people smoke downstairs with me in my office or whatever, and sometimes we'd have 15 people in the office, and it was just like, there's 300 coffee shops you can go out and hang out in, you know what I mean, that are designed for exactly
places for this, yeah.
But yet, it's just kind of like, sometimes people want to have a combination of, you definitely don't want to feel like you're sitting in somebody's house every time, but you also don't want to feel like you're actually, are you like, you have to keep buying a drink every 5 minutes or you're going to get a bad vibe
right,
out.
You just want to hang out somewhere and smoke.
And that's kind of what, and even in Amsterdam too, I've been to plenty of coffee shops that had no good vibe at all because the people don't understand what we want and that's where it really was the difference. People come in, it's so easy because it's so low impact. We're not very difficult people to deal with. But when you're looking at it from the opposite side, people just think very simple, like.
No, for sure. A lot of the lack of refinement, I would say, in the presentation in a lot of the Dutch coffee shops, like the nicest one was like Barney's Uptown. And that shit was like Target nice. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's not nice.
Yeah. No, but the thing about Holland, though, too, is one of the deals there has always been that you never make your shop too nice because of the taxes are so high there. So the tax man sees you're spending lots of money, they're going to come and see why you're spending lots of money. So people purposely kept their places pretty funky, especially up until recently. Like recently, there's been an upgrade. Once so Greenhouse made their place kind of nice. Then Barney's was across the street. Made their place.
It doesn't have to be nice. Even it has to be like you said that like I was never in one that was like a submarine. That would be cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Anything where you're like the environment is cooler than just some tables.
Yeah, for sure. There was Lucky Mothers. Was that still there when you were there? Okay, so there's a shop called Lucky Mothers back in the day, and that was actually kind of similar too, where like it wasn't anything beyond comfortable. It was a comfortable place, but the people there were super cool, and they had like the downstairs was like all black lighted out and kind of weird, but it was just funny because you'd go by there in the middle of the afternoon, it'd be just rammed. There'd be like 60 people in a room. With that tiny little room, and it was just because they had the right vibe, and they actually obviously had good quality gear also.
Yeah, that's a piece of it too.
That's part of it too. But anyway, so then our inspiration for that place was to get the art mixed with the clothing and mixed with it's basically cannabis art and.
So that was like the first place you started working on that formula. cannabis.
Yeah. Well,
clothing
actually,
art.
it was actually an extension of. We had Cece and I had come up with a sort of campaign to do these art jackets.
Okay.
And we've been working on those for a few years, and it was like mixing hemp, classical hemp painters, Rembrandts and things like that.
Right, hemp canvas. Yeah.
Using hemp not only for the canvas but also for the paint.
Oh, the oil for the paint.
Oil for the paint. So we wanted to kind of bring, and the same as you said, the root word being canvas and cannabis. We just wanted to make that connection, But part of it was we were working with all street artists when we're doing these jackets. So that was kind of like, now that we had these 30 or 40 jackets, we need to show them, So part of that was our intro, because we started in March, I believe it was. And so we had our first show, which was all of our art jackets.
Right.
And our concept was that every time we bring a new artist in, we would have them add to the collection, And so that kind of grew into this first spot, which, now that I think back and how small it was, I mean, we maxed every square inch
Crushed
of
it. And I would say there was a period there, like in the summer, where that wasn't just the spot to be for cannabis in Denver. It was on First Friday. It was the spot to be in Denver, and you could go to all the art galleries on this 4-block stretch in Denver, and like the one that was bumping was
the lab.
The lab every time.
It was like the who's who of Denver.
If you were cool, and I would run into people who it's like, dude, you don't even smoke weed. What are you doing here?
Well, the cool part too was that there was a lot less. It was like a lot less teams over here and teams over there, and
little crews. And
everybody
stuff,
was very much more. That was the cool part too. Like, we didn't have any animosity or anything towards anybody, and we just came into town. We're trying to be open to all parties, and now it's kind of fragmented, and everybody's doing bigger, better, more.
But hey, that's why that's why the Phoenix.
Exactly. And the thing is, I think with you. Take into effect that we were, again, only in these places for 2 years, but we make a big impact every time we're in a spot. Give us a place that we can actually grow into longer and see what happens, And that's our specialty, is just sort of taking over a spot and making it our own,
And that's, I think, what you guys have a talent for making any space work. I think one of the cool things about the Santa Fe Hood Lab was like,
was the art inside is what it
well,
was.
yeah, you walk in there and you're like, oh, there's an art gallery, and then originally, I guess it wasn't open to the public yet, but it was like, okay, the front was the art clothing gallery.
Oh, I called it my mullet. So business in the front, party in the rear.
And then the back, but it was just like a back room. Like, we would hang out in this back room and smoke. And then it, as you said, organically expanded to this really bumping patio area.
Yeah, no, and that's, after being in Amsterdam for so long, where you have very limited outdoor space, that's one of the things that whatever you do, like if you go to somebody's house there and they'll max out whatever little area, if they have a little spot up on top for their balcony, they'll try to do as much as they can in that spot. And that's kind of that made it easy for us in limited areas to kind of do big things, And then with the last place I think was the first time we started, we built a wall in the back and we would project onto that wall. So, that was kind of like, oh, I like this outdoor theater vibe. You know what I mean?
I feel like it was also the American debut of the leaf blower was back there.
I think so. Let me see. I actually think that was...
Or Colorado debut? No,
the Colorado debut would be at Greenest Green.
Greenest Green in the store, nice.
Yeah, in the store on the final day that you could smoke, we decided that that's the way to go out, right? Go out with a leaf blower, of course.
Nice. So
that was actually the debut, but it was a lot of other people's debut.
Yeah,
because it was a place that they could actually, they knew.
And it happened more than once.
It happened many times over there. Didn't happen so much at the new lab because the new lab's so big, I just couldn't kind of control.
It happened for the Raekwon. It worked.
It worked great for Raekwon.
Yeah,
I'm sure he remembers it.
Yeah,
or not.
I believe that's what ended the set, if I'm not mistaken.
Or not, maybe.
Yeah,
but
we can't afford a smoke machine. It's what we got. You got to work with what you got.
And then the other thing that was cool about the original spot was the fact that we really showcased a lot of artists from Europe that came through, and then kind of brought our community here a little bit of taste of it. And it's good to see. Like I love to see people who didn't even know they appreciated art now all of a sudden into it. You know what I mean? And
that was actually it definitely.
And you could see it work. You know what I mean?
It brought some culture, much needed culture. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that, I don't know, you coming from like New York, whatever, you compare to Colorado, it's like.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in New York, and that like there's so many layers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whatever layer you're in, you may not cross over to that other layer. And then
But you know, the crazy thing about your guys' shop is that it not only brought people for just buying clothing, which it did. It not only brought people just for art. It not only brought people just for cannabis. It not only brought people just for partying, but it, as you've said about all your places, it's like this weird beacon. Like the craziest motherfucker who's just going to walk into, who's in Denver for 2 hours, who's just going to walk into a store. They seem to always walk into your store.
Yeah, no, we definitely have that knack. You know what I mean? I almost sometimes think I should be doing like talent consulting or something because
scouting.
There's so many crazy characters. Especially, I mean, Amsterdam had the same thing. You know, just an endless stream of characters rolling through, whether they be locals that knew us or tourists or whatever. They definitely had a knack to find us. It's almost like the Batman beacon or something. You know?
And it's like, yeah, some people hear of it word of mouth, but I'm talking about the just like,
Randoms.
hey man, what is this place? You know,
yeah,
they say,
yeah.
what is this place? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm shooting a music video because I'm so like, what?
yeah.
How
Yeah,
did you?
exactly?
Like,
No, I know, and that's been the awesome part of it is just seeing how like every day is a new day. You know what I mean? You roll into the shop, who knows what's going to happen? You know, that's a cool thing. It's definitely never the same.
It isn't. There's some consistent themes, but it's definitely always changing up. So I don't know. You want to take another break?
Sure.
Put on some more music. We got music by Esseks.
This will be a double break day. I don't think we've ever done that.
Yeah, well, it's the new format. Yeah, this joint's called Masks, and you can check out Esseks on Smoker's Cough Records. Yeah, it's cool. It's like a little drum and bassy mixed electronica deal.
I wouldn't call that drum and bass.
No,
anyway.
you'll hear the break. You'll hear the break.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, all right.
A little jungly.
Yeah, have some faith in me.
We are back
on the Adam Dunn Show, and we're talking
very chill there. That was very chill.
It's a chill comeback because it's a
we
chill.
had heavy metal last week, didn't we? Or what?
A
No,
few
was that
weeks
too-
ago. We're mixing it up.
We're mixing this stuff.
Smoker's
up.
Cough, they do hip hop and they do chill stuff. And
They
they're
don't
cool.
do metal.
They don't do the metal. That was Ryan's boys.
So big shout out to Incredibles, #1 edible here in the world and Colorado.
Yes, #1 edible here on planet Earth.
Planet Earth or universe.
Do you think aliens can get podcasts?
Depending on how far away they are. I mean, eventually everybody will get this podcast throughout the universe.
But it's not on the radio waves or anything. Like, they have to get onto the internet to get it.
Well, I mean, I assume
If they
somewhere
paid
the
their
radiation.
bill, if they paid their bill, they should be able to get
All
it.
right, aliens,
Pay your bill.
come down, check out the firecracker. I don't know if aliens are vegans, in which case the Makiba bars might be
Do
the
they
way
have
to go.
mouths? That's the question. Do they even?
If they don't have mouths, I feel like they could get the pills. They could get the Incredipills and bust it open and rub it on themselves.
And if they're silicone based, I mean, that's just not going to be good.
Well, then they don't have cannabinoids, and this is war.
Shout out to Way to Grow.
Yeah. So they got what sale now?
Light It Up sales coming up. Light It Up sales coming. They still have 2 days left if you're going to get your Keep It Cool sale.
Keeping it cool.
But their Light It Up sales coming up this next month, and that will be $24.99 for a 1,000-watt bulb or something crazy like that.
That's pretty crazy. And then how cheap are T5s though?
$5.99.
$6 for a T5.
Bam. All day.
So you could refit your whole 12 lighter for $72 instead of just getting.
Oh, it's even
like
cheaper. It's $24.99, dude.
$24.99 for a Thaui.
Mm-hmm.
HPS or metal halide, or
Don't have the full details, but
full details will be forthcoming. I bet they'll
Next
be
month,
on
yeah. Or next
waytogrow.net
For
next
sure.
week. Yeah, and you can win tickets to Bare Naked Ladies in the park in the
Go to their
Botanical
Facebook
Gardens.
page.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if you don't want to do that, you can just go to waytogrow.net and check out all the goodness. So we're bidding farewell to the Hood Lab. Is it the Hood Lab or Hood Lab? Because
It's
originally
Hood Lab.
it was Hood Lab,
it's just Hoodlab.
but everyone says the Hood Lab.
Yeah, well, it's a place, so you go there.
I'm talking to the Adam Dunn,
To the Adam Dunn.
but
Exactly.
Hood Lab. We're
I'm
talking
not a
about
place, am I? Am I a place? I guess
No,
I-
but you're
I
proper
could be a
noun.
place.
You're proper noun.
But yeah, so we had to move out of the old lab due to our landlord loving us so much. She said, "You guys are great. I love what you do. Just can't do it here." It was one of those deals. So she was afraid of liability and stuff just because of so many people being on her property. And
Yeah, it got
I
a
can
little
understand.
crazy.
I can
Yeah.
understand. And it never got crazy. That's the whole thing. She never had anything.
It never got crazy.
Never had
but
anything to complain about except for the fact that it was like, massive amounts of cars and there was tons of people there. And
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, that's what we're.
That's called
our-
a thriving
that's
business.
That's our job, you know what I mean? To get people to attract people to our shop. But so we had to move out of there. We were sad, and it was really weird too because it's always in July. I mean, I always
Is
move in
that
July.
just cool? You're in that like lease cycle, right? Like you get kicked out of a place, got to move in a new
Well,
place,
no,
and moving in
now
July.
it makes sense, but also back in the day, even in Amsterdam,
Really?
yeah,
Historically,
we
July's
got
not a
in
good one for
July. Don't know if we got out in July too, so it's just weird. I don't know. It's like that's my month. I know I'm moving. If there's any month of the
We got to break the curse of July. Well, July is 7, and then it happened 3 times for 2 years is 6, and that equals 13. So,
we're good.
Illuminati.
We're good
yeah.
to go. We're good to go. You can pretty much make any of those things work.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
So anyway, we moved out of there and we found this other location. And it was kind of interesting too because I didn't really, I was feeling it, but the part I
The
liked.
new location?
Yeah, the part I liked the most was the retaining wall in the back. We had this huge 100-foot long retaining wall that was like just raw, had never been touched by anybody. So I was like, that's it. I was more interested in the wall, even though I'm not an artist I just knew that people would come
You
through.
knew the people to do it, yeah.
You have a nice fresh wall like that, you're going to get some real serious artists in there. So I was really excited about that. Wasn't sure how I was going to make the rest of the space work. It was definitely like, I don't know. But now it's just all kind of fallen together, and now it's actually really, really a comfy spot. What are you doing there?
I don't know. Give me a seizure.
I know.
No, the cool thing about the new lab, I think, was first of all you had more space to work with.
Obviously.
The other thing was that you guys were like one of the first
neighborhood
businesses
is
in that
killer.
neighborhood. It wasn't killer yet though, and that's like you're definitely the first in. And
Well, we had Nooch also move in next door to us, which was
Right.
that was
Vegan
actually
market.
also the other ceiling deal. Is I was like looking at the whole block, and I was like, so what's going in over here? And they're like, oh, that's going to be a
Vegan
vegan
market.
supermarket. I was like, well, I guess we're
Dude,
moving here.
it
there's-
was not a supermarket. It was
No,
it
it
was a market at best. There was
Yeah.
nothing super about that place. It was
was-
very small.
okay.
They're awesome now. The new spot's
I haven't
bigger,
even been
but
to the new
it's
spot.
not next to the lab, but it's much better.
It was much easier when it was next to the lab.
I know, but they only
now
really
there's
had
now
snacks.
they sell like high quality alcohol there, which is also not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bad thing. I was like, hey, I got a nice spot right
Now,
there too.
and that's why we're moving.
But yeah, exactly. No, but it was a
The other cool thing is that they ended up doing. I think that was like not a game changer, but it was like one of those milestones in the lab where they did the cup across the street. They did Cannabis
oh my God,
Cup.
it's huge. Yeah, and that was like again just like coincidental, you know.
Essentially, this is the universe playing out, because it was coincidental, but they were over. They came by your spot. They looked around. They saw, like it. Yeah, no, it is, but it's not.
Well, I got the phone call from Stang, basically having me go walk across the street, stand in that parking lot, and tell him if it can happen. So you can pretty much blame me for all that craziness that happened.
That's really funny, because I was making phone calls, going, guys, I walked that lot yesterday when I was at Adams. There's no way you're gonna fucking fit this thing.
Yeah, and I was there like, do it.
More, 10,000 at least 10,000.
Yeah. Well, I already knew that it would overflow and go to our spot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Again, we had.
No. I think you guys should shut down the street too. The street in between the spot. Yeah.
It would have been great. No, but that's when we did Cannibal. I mean, that's the thing, is we were able to really flex and do kind of all these things we've been wanting to do, because the space made sense. It's not the biggest building. It's about 2,500 square feet, but the property itself is about 11,000 square feet. So it's quarter acre. You know what I mean? Which is not a bad thing to have in the middle of town, always a good thing.
No, for sure. And again, the people who came through, the fact that it was across the street from the Cup, the hype was good about the place. Really, just everyone, like that caller said, it was like, I can't believe Ed Rosenthal was right there. Sure. And you walk in there, and it's anyone who's ever been anyone in cannabis either goes there on purpose or by accident.
Sure. And
it's a weird pilgrimage type thing, I think, that people make.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. I think one thing we've talked about, especially at the new lab, is sort of the conversations that have happened there.
Well, I always tell everybody, it's like, we're either on or, well, I guess everybody's either on or off, but there's some days there where it's like game-changing information being exchanged just because.
Two people having just that certain conversation.
Yeah, or a group or a whole group of people, but like, wow, that's some like major stuff. And then, the next day we're all just like staring at each other going like, so it's really, it depends on what's
and when we say
on.
Game changer, it's sort of coincidental, but also sort of not coincidental that, like, if this wasn't in Colorado or Colorado didn't legalize, it wouldn't necessarily be game changer, but just by the circumstances of history.
Well, we got a chance. We got to do the original Club 64 there.
Right.
So, turn on the TV. Everybody around the world was like, is that Adam's spot? Just because they recognized the.
Same with Vice, right?
And then with Vice and stuff. So we've managed to like get to do some things there that were instantly got world press, you know what I mean, which is awesome. And that's the power of Colorado at this point right now, because everybody's all eyes are on here. And then if you have all eyes on here and then they're all on you because you're taking that little, and all we did was take a little risk. We said, sure, we'll have we'll do something here.
This
no
is
problem.
Private. Yeah.
This is a private event. But it was, and it went off without a hitch, not a problem. And then other people tried and they got shut down,
That's the other interesting thing. And on the theme of smoking clubs, like, you have an amazing knack of like keeping it at that level where you're not like, okay, I didn't buy ads on the radio.
Yeah. And I don't ever, the main thing is I don't ever, we never sell cannabis. We never force you, in a sense, like, look, free dabs or free. I think that's too much. You know what I mean? Or buy a pencil and I'll give you an ounce. It's just like $300 pencil and I'll give you an ounce of weed. All these ideas that people came up with, they're stupid. Because it's like it's not. It's not good for the cause in a way, because the best thing to do is to let it be very, very organic, like we do. And everybody's happy, and everyone walks out of the room, and there's no, you don't have to like make it into a business all the time. You know what I mean?
It's a safe haven more than anything else.
And part of obviously we want to, we want to keep our doors open, we want to make money, but we also can creatively do it without having to just make you feel like you're there as a victim every time. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of times, a lot of these shops, you drive there. I mean, did you see that new one that just opened up? Come to my Gary's. You saw that thing? Gary's Rec Room.
But I mean, the thing is, most of those places are like going to a business, whereas like Hoodlab was like going to a culture.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that is kind of a. I mean, inevitably, Cece probably wouldn't want to hear that. She'd be like, "No, you're coming to a business guy. You need to make some money." But you know what I mean? It was kind of everybody, and it does, like what I was saying about organically, it does. People will, like, without even being forced, like you're not there, have to buy, but at a certain point they feel they have to buy because they're part of it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're contributing to its continuation too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a good segue
for the
membership. Memberships,
exactly. So that's one of the things too, is like we've shied away from the idea of memberships for a while, just because I feel like it ostracizes the people who are not a member to feel like, oh, and I have to become a member.
It's like elitist,
yeah. And part of it was also like, then you have to then you have to give them something because now they're remembered. So now as we're leaving this spot and looking into the next spot, we decided that this is probably the best time to start the membership because we want people to be able to follow us to wherever we go and feel welcome when we come to the new place and not feel like, oh, now it's like we have to go through the whole new learning curve again.
Right.
And I think...
And the other piece I got to say is like legally it works a lot cleaner with the way the laws are than it is private. If you're
and the thing is, I think a lot of the people don't realize like by telling somebody to give you $5, it doesn't automatically mean they're a member of a legitimate membership thing. You really got to treat it like an Elks Club. Do a background check on every single person that comes through.
Newsletters.
And that's who's doing that at Gary's rec room. Right. I mean, for $5, you cannot do a background check. So you technically really got to step your game up. And we're charging $100 for our membership for a year. Which, if you know how we like to do things, a year of us and free to come into all of our events is definitely going to be worth your $100.
Well, and I'll say that if I weren't from Colorado, and this is the advice I'm going to give to my brother who's moving here, and this is the advice I'm going to give to like anyone who wants to come hang out in Colorado. If you're planning on coming to Colorado, you're going to get some weed, you're going to smoke in your hotel room, it's going to be $250 fine. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee you that because it happens to everybody.
Yeah,
and they get all
they're on it
about
now. They're on it.
Yeah.
They love that.
Or you can pay $100 for the year. And honestly, not only is it a cool status thing to show your friends, I'm sure there's going to be some kind of membership card.
Yeah, you get a card, you get a Wookiee pin, you get a Wook pin there.
Yeah, I mean, like, so there's definitely... You're part of something special, something that's inevitably going to continue to be historic. Yeah. But on the other hand, you
could save yourself a lot of money.
Yeah, you're setting it up so you have a place to come, be yourself, and link up with other like-minded, cool people in the motherland of Colorado, dude. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think now that I know Grassroots is doing a membership for their break room, I think people are going to start to step out there and it's just having a little bit of balls and being able to like take the heat if it does happen, because at the end of the day, I mean, we've had police in the lab multiple times.
So we got a minute and a half. Let's talk about the Raekwon show. Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That
like
was
Raekwon,
nuts to me.
Raekwon,
There was how many people packed into the lab?
We were way over any kind of limit we could have ever had, and the cops were not interested in that at all. They were not.
And everybody was just smoking weed in front of the cops.
And the cops were not interested in weed at all. They even told me like, we're not here for the weed, we're here for the noise. But because it was Raekwon and DJ Premier, and the cop was actually really cool. One of them was really cool.
He was like, oh really? He was like impressed with the.
He was
really.
Like, he was like, all right, I'll give you guys 15 more minutes, and this is at 12:18. Which is pretty unheard of if you think about it. Like
that's the power of the lab.
That's
so really
12:18, and the cop's giving you 15 more minutes because it's Raekwon. He's like, "You got Chef here?" Yeah, we got Chef. So he was a pretty cool cop if he knew his name. He already knew his name and everything. Yeah. So they let us slide. You know what I mean? And then other people seem to have problems like undercover cops coming into their place. So I'm like, well, what, then you're not doing your job properly at that point, because then you are looking shadier than you know.
Exactly. If the door's open and you have a fucking 10-foot tall hemp plant out front,
sure, then you're pretty much like, hey, and that was another thing that was like kind of interesting, because back in Amsterdam, I always grew a plant out in front of our shop, and they lost at a certain point. They were like, no, you can't do this. You're making a bad image for the city. I was like, really? Like people.
It's Amsterdam, guys. There's hookers and junkies all over the place.
I go across the street. There's animal bestiality videos in the window. I mean, that's like, come on. And then every single person that sees that plant just brings a big smile on their face. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to get people to smile and be happy is to show them a plant. Amazingly enough.
So, all right. So we're talking about membership. We're talking about the future of the lab.
Yeah. So
we're talking bigger, definitely, right? More space.
Definitely bigger. We have we have a few places that we're looking at. Again, just like we talked about earlier with Jordan, we definitely can't say anything until things get signed.
Of course.
Because you'll bring bad luck to your project there. But in general, we're not stopping, that's for sure. Everybody's a lot of people concerned that we're not going to keep going, but we're going to take a very nice couple months off. Also, part of the thing right now is not only am I moving the lab, I'm also moving my home. So I'm in like multiple moving
transition time.
Huge. Yeah. So in about a week from now, it'll be in a completely different world. Say, oh, okay, I'm downtown. I'm not in the mountains anymore. But I don't have a store to go to. But I also have a lot of time now. What I'm going to do is in the next few months is I'm going to check out all these other places and see what's going on. Because when you do your own thing for so long, it's hard because we get into a bubble, Like
for sure,
CC
and then
and
new
I
things
have
come up.
Hardly gone out and gone to be able to do things because we always have an event around the corner. And, it's important that we make sure our things work out. When I first came here, I was out hitting all the spots. And I mean, like, I don't think I've been to Cervantes in 2 years or something. It's crazy.
Everything's changed a lot, you know, and I haven't either because there's always been the lab. So everything's
exactly. So now, I think we're going to let everybody experience it. And now they're all going to run back to the lab when we have a new one, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. And so are you doing that incubator space you were talking about? Can we talk about that?
Sure. Like, well, Green Labs is the name of it. It's on 31st, right off of Larimer. It's really close to where the lab is right now.
Right.
And coincidentally, I'll be living right behind it. So it's going to be like he's called Green Labs and we're Hood Labs. So we decided to call it Lab Square.
Oh, nice.
And so it's a different vibe than what we're doing now, and it's more business orientated. So it's literally,
it's interesting because I think a lot of people do know of the lab as a place where you can make deals with people who matter.
Yeah, we are an incubator in a sense, but we don't force you to sit at a desk and pay us every month to be there, which changes the vibe a little bit again. And that's where like if you're relaxed with people, you'll get more done. And sometimes, you know,
for sure. But then, you know, if you're trying to, like, I don't know, there have been times at the lab where a lot of things have gotten done, but more would have gotten done.
Oh, if it was in a more professional setting.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
So if you're interested in that aspect of the lab and really just networking and working with everyone in cannabis and Adam, like, that's there.
Well, and the cool part with the guys over at Green Labs is that they are willing to work with us on getting some events going and, you know, keep our kind of vibe rolling. So
can we do Raekwon at the co-working space?
Yeah, that'll be a good show. It'll be like 12 people could fit in there. Yeah. No, it's a bit more. I mean, actually they have a... We'll find out. We might even be able to get the lot next door. And if we can get the lot next door, then it would be like almost like the real lab again because we'd have a huge ass space outside.
It would be like outdoor. But I think even still, if you're thinking of the place where Party Central, not so much. That's down the line. But,
exactly. But it will be. But we can do some events. We can do events, and we can do, you know, date like we used to do the Neat Market, which was our vegan market. We did once every, you know,
right
on every first Sunday, and that was awesome. That was like one of the. Like, it was great to cross over the two because, you know, especially when you get like all the guys at the vegan market, probably about more than half of them smoked, if not
for sure
more than that even. But it wasn't their normal setting, you know what I mean? So they felt a little bit strange at first, and then when they had to leave and go to another spot, most of them were pretty bummed out because they finally realized that, you know, it's not as weird as it really appeared at the first time. But, you know, for the average,
I think it is interesting how like a casual smoker will come in and there's one of two reactions. There's one where it's like you don't feel like you fit in, and then there's the other where you're like, aha, it's the place I've been looking for my whole life.
Right,
you know?
Right, for sure. And, you know, it's not like uncommon for people to come through, be a little bit nervous the first time, and then come back, like bring their girlfriend or their boyfriend or whatever, and then of course because they're feeling more comfortable.
Right, they have a companion.
Exactly, and then it's like, and then I've even hired a few people that way. Like, oh, you know, this is the place. I just came here from Virginia or whatever, you know, and it's like, you know, you could just tell that they were so amazed by the spot, and then ended up working there. Yeah.
I think the other piece of it is, it really. Kind of the piece that we were talking, Crunchy and I were talking out front, like so few people try to be the best in the world at what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about some of the best clothing in the world, some of the best artists in the world, best urban, you know, like when you're bringing in music, it's not like, oh, hey, local rapper guy, that's our buddy. It's Raekwon. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it's focusing on only that's what Hood Lab is synonymous with.
It brought out the best,
of everything, and like you said, the best of Denver. It's just like
the best of. I mean, and I there were so many things that, like, I mean, food related that I got involved in just based on being at Hood Lab. I mean,
restaurant people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, restaurant, different events I've catered and stuff like that. Like, it was stuff.
Did you give the cut back to the lab?
Yeah, the check's in the mail.
Okay, good. Along with the thousands of others.
Haven't you noticed the burritos? He's paying us in burritos.
Oh yeah, good job. But no, in general, it is a real melting pot. You know what I mean? And that's like that's the bad thing about cannabis in general. And I've always told people from day one, like, I feel comfortable with 75-year-old person as much as I feel with hanging out with a 20-year-old. You know, it doesn't really bother me too much as far as, you know, like, and you'll find common ground, and it won't just be
if
cannabis.
the vibe's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
And it won't be just cannabis. A lot of
Well, I was
times-
talking to the chai guys, you know, and obviously we started talking about they were there because they make.
kombucha.
Then we started talking about kombucha, but then we went on and started talking about, like, I was there till like 4 a.m, all chied up, talking about the craziest things, you know. But just like, really, you're interested in that too? I was, you know, you definitely. It seems to bring people together and gel that hive mind.
Yeah, no, and it's again, like you were saying earlier, like probably plenty more could have gone down if we were able to separate it a little bit. But at the same time, I think it's also the fact that we don't do that. I mean, the green room is about the only thing that seems to be a separation from the whole place sometimes. But even though it's just because
That's almost like a secret level. I always think of the green room like no one's going to actually be like, "Hey, you can't be back there."
Yeah.
There's no bouncer. You just got to know it's there.
Yeah, no, it's like, and that's a classic place like where the average guy might feel a little weird when he first comes in the front door, but even people who feel comfortable there feel like, oh, they're stepping up to the next level by going into the green room, and it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily true because there's definitely, you know, it's open to anybody in a sense.
I mean, it says private on the door.
Yeah,
it's,
but
it's open to the bold.
It's open to the bold, exactly. The door's open, private sign's there. You have to make your way. But I mean, it's also like I like the fact that once people are there, occasionally you'll be like, all right, this guy's got to go. He has no idea why he's here. But for the most, but then there's other times where I think that the fact that they've stepped in there, they feel like, you know, extra special.
It almost attracts the people, like the bold. It attracts the bold, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And it is quite funny when you do an event and you go in there and you open the door and it's just like, are you kidding me? This place is standing room only. You know,
who are all these people?
And I don't know anybody in there. I'll be like, I'm out of the room, you know. But it's cool. I mean, I think that openness has been part of our success with people as far as, like, you know, we don't make people definitely try not to make anybody feel uncomfortable, you know, coming into our spot.
No, it's super welcoming, and I do have to say, for listeners out there who think that this means you should come, like, try to live on the couch for a few days, not that kind of welcoming.
No, exactly.
Because that's happened more than a couple times that I know of. But, you know, if you're in town and you want to check out really the spot that everyone seems to, at least, you know, not everyone's a regular.
No.
But if you've never been in a lab, you're kind of, I don't know, you either just got to Denver or I don't know. Crunchy, you're not as in, you're more in the restaurant world and things like that, and more in other cultural venues. What do you think on that?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, I mean, if you are coming to Denver for, like, the cannabis culture, it's essentially like the Disney World, man. It's like you gotta go. Like, if you're gonna go do it, you have to go see it.
You go to Florida, you gotta hit Disney. You gotta hit Disney World.
Yeah,
right?
or shoot an alligator in the mouth, whatever.
Whatever's clever.
I would say even more so than Cannabis Cup or any of the events. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you, that's Disney World, because that's the show that's put together. You know what I mean? But if you want to go to, like, the heart of it, it's like, I mean, CBGB's is not a thing anymore, but if you went to New York and you were into punk rock, you went to CB's. Like, that's the real deal.
Yeah.
You know?
But now you can go to Vegas.
Yeah, now you can go to fake CB's. Yeah.
You can go to they have one there.
Oh, I know. I just don't like Vegas.
I can see
Me either. Crunch, you don't like it either?
I hate
Fuck
Vegas, man.
dude.
It's the worst.
Dubai all the way, dude.
No, you can't smoke in Dubai. So
You can't smoke in Dubai?
No.
I thought Muslims love hash. That's not like a universal?
You're definitely not going to get away with it, and you could possibly pull it off if you just.
And they grew the beard out, and
Yeah.
no,
But-
I got it.
but
I have
no-
one of the outfits too.
No, they're very, very harsh in Dubai. You definitely just like the last place you want to even bring up weed.
I don't have enough money to be in Dubai for very long anyway, so.
It's okay. I'm trying to see this Mayweather-Pacquiao fight.
When's that?
It's going to be in Dubai. I don't know if it's really going to go down.
It never goes down.
So speaking of events, the Farewell to the Lab event, if it is dry, will happen tonight, and if it is not dry, will happen tomorrow night. Is that correct?
Pretty much. I mean, I'm actually on the check-in right now. I'm like, see how I mean, this is Colorado. Things change rapidly. So, but when I woke up this morning, I saw just nothing but, like, it rained all night long, and I know how our spot is. So what I don't want to have is our last thing be a flooded event where we're all like wet feet watching a movie. It's not going to work. Like
No,
that.
that's going to fucking blow.
So I'd rather. But if people feel like coming by tonight, which I'm sure plenty will, because they're not going to all know, even if we blast it out on Facebook and whatever. definitely come on through because it is our last 48 hours there. So,
And I've seen a couple listeners on the show sort of saying, like on the Facebook and stuff, saying, "Oh, we got to check it out. We got if you've never been, come.
Yeah.
Not only pay your
it's-
respects, but like experience it."
I mean, we're breaking it down so it's not quite as nice as it was. Let's say we sold the skateboard ramp. Imagine that.
Wow.
That doesn't ever happen.
Sold the skate ramp.
Oh.
I went by the lab like 2 days ago to go skate for a little bit while I was waiting for you. I'm like, oh, they must have taken the ramp down. I'm sure they're moving it over. So now that's all right though.
You sold it to this guy in Rhode Island.
Really? No. I was gonna say it's okay though. Me and Sheldon can just build a new one.
Yeah, no. I mean, Sheldon told me, "Hey, if you want to sell the ramp," and
How much you get for it?
$200.
It was weathered.
They took it down.
It was
Oh,
weathered.
they
and
took it. So they did all the work.
Oh, they did all the work.
Oh yeah, $20.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, I mean, it was one of those. I was pretty shocked to sell anything like made out of wood that's been in the rain and not treated properly for how long.
That was good. That was good.
But they look good underneath. I mean, the masonite was all warped, but everything else was fine. So we sold the ramp. So things are starting to
But the
disappear.
graffiti wall is still there.
Graffiti
Is
wall
clothing
is still
still
there.
there? Or clothing's all packed up.
Clothing's still there. We're milking that to the last second, of course. I mean, we're not
So
gonna-
I mean, then if the inside still looks the same and the graffiti wall's still there, it's still the lab.
I mean, it's in process. And like
and
I
the
said, we're
limo's there till when?
till this afternoon.
Is it gone? It's gone now.
No, this afternoon. When I get back, I have to get back to make the transaction. So.
Okay. Well,
So, but in general, yeah, things are disappearing. You can come and buy some of the lab too. Things are still for sale.
there you go. You
Got
can
the
buy the
G-Rage
art.
sale, got the
also-
G-Rail
yeah.
Rage sale going. So, some of
I don't know. Some people were talking about like maybe making a pilgrimage to it. Like,
Yeah.
do that. Do
Yeah,
that
for
This
sure.
is me
And
too.
like I
I
said-
have no ownership stake in the lab. I have nothing to do with the lab other than it's my favorite place to hang out and do that.
No, it is definitely the time to do it. Come down, check us out before we're out of the door.
And 3354 Larimer
that's
Street in Denver.
Still
yeah.
the spot.
And if you're a big shopper of the Hoodlam, I mean, if you do get the clothing from the store and you come in, keep an eye out. We are putting together the e-store, which the URL, once it is up and running, will be shophoodlam.com. But, I mean, we'll have like a nice Hood Lab, keep up to date with all the news, when the new location's coming out, all that cool
Sure.
stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely going to be
Will people be able to get memberships on the online store?
Yes,
yes,
they will.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, I don't know if Colorado is going to remain the hub. And to tie back into our topic, right? We're talking smoking clubs.
I think Colorado just needs to step their game up on that part of it all, and they'll be fine. If they don't,
But I
then
mean,
let
at
other
the same
states
time,
jump in.
can I hold you to your earlier point that like you just got to kind of do it?
Yeah, for sure. That's the way. That is the only.
That's
way.
what we're doing here, right?
Yeah,
So
no, and it's the one thing I respect the Dutch for the most is that's their angle, which is don't ever ask, just do it, and when they tell you can't do it, adjust so you can still do it. You know what I mean? And that's the way it's worked, and that's how that whole system got to where it was.
but that's also limits the system ultimately, and so I mean that's why it is where it is now.
Well, the thing about how, and that's why I told you earlier, like, don't put too much into it because they'll think, hey, you're making way too much money.
Right.
So they're obviously playing cat and mouse all the time. It's mostly with the tax man over there. It's not the police. You don't worry about the police. You worry about the tax man. So it's like victim of your own success. If you do too good, they'll come in and clock you on a Saturday for the most busy hour and then calculate that for the rest of the week and say, oh, well, you owe us that, and you're like, no.
Oh, that's why when they busted the cup, it was the tax guys, and that's why
Yes.
it was a big deal.
Yeah, and the tax guys.
I was like,
they carry
fuck
guns.
the tax guy, fuck the tax guy. I
They
don't
carry
give a-
guns in Holland, so it's like kind of like, oh, yeah, tax guys got guns. That's weird.
You're enforcing the crown's treasury. Is that like pretty
Something
much
like
what
that.
it is?
Something like that. But they are definitely the most feared people there,
Huh.
for sure. But in general, yeah, just doing it is the most important part and getting it going, and then not being afraid of failure.
You know what would be really cool? If you could work out some sort of satellite network, like with Jordan's Club in Rhode Island and your spot, where you could just have the membership.
Right.
The mega membership, and you just knew that we're at whatever state you were in, you knew where your home was.
Yeah, that's very possible.
And I think
Sure,
that,
Jordan and I could work that out.
yeah, and I mean everyone else who's listening, who's doing that, I know there's people all over the place. Let us know what you're.
Yeah, I mean, the other great thing about cannabis in general is we've always self-regulated ourselves. Like, I mean, there hasn't really been like other industries. People are always on, they're always out to gain as much as possible. Cannabis, I mean, you're going to run into that too, but you're also going to run into, hey, especially back before all of this dispensaries and things like, if so-and-so was selling crap, he gets called out or his weights are wrong or whatever, shut down. You know what I mean? And it was only from just people talking and communicating. And I think now that it's gotten more legitimate, it got actually less legitimate because there's not that same action going on, which would be, that's kind of the way we need to do our clubs, is sort of self-regulate ourselves with
For
these
sure.
clubs.
If you're keeping it real and it's like a legit thing, and then the same legit people should be able to go there, and legit people should have a safe, legit place to go. That's, legit, right? Super legit.
So I'm getting a report from down at the lab right now. They're saying, go for it.
Go for it. The
See,
farewell.
listen-
Wow!
They're
So
saying it.
live listeners,
See?
farewell to the lab event is on tonight.
I don't know. He's saying go for it. So, means that it's not flooded, which is good.
Or that the shop vacs are running hard
Or
right
they're
now.
pumping it out as we speak. So we're looking at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's got to be dark for movies, yeah.
He says, keep the show going.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we were just discussing.
So
just
all
go
right.
for it and do it.
Just go for it.
So that's one of the lines in the movie.
Whoa.
Just go for it. Go
We were
for it.
discussing, this is like my
I'm
little...
gonna go for it.
I feel like Ryan right now. Now I know how to what it feels like.
Mike.
But
You good?
yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
Mike, I don't know. Adam said Mike.
No,
it
just
was
cut out.
cutting.
Cut, yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like I can't roll a joint. That's a known thing.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
You
Let
know,
me
you
just
said
say
you
this.
feel
Let me
like me,
just-
but you can't roll. I can
let me
roll a
say-
joint.
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
I just feel like the black sheep, like the outcast, the put upon one.
So I'm.
It's because I can't roll a joint and I don't know all the words to Cheech and Chong. And at first that's like a little scary, but I can roll a blunt and I do know all the words to How High. And I, given where I grew up, I
You
think
can't
that's
roll a
fair.
joint.
No, my thumbs can't. It's like two.
Do you
my
have toe thumbs?
Yeah, I got big stupid thumbs.
No, but
is
you
what
don't
I
have
to
toe
say.
thumbs though.
But
I know, but
Like
I've
Megan-
got big.
if you can
stupid
roll a
thumbs.
blunt, you can roll a joint.
You told roll a joint, dude.
Dude, the papers are too flimsy.
I
Like,
have
I
a
can
system.
roll a little blunt if you want me to roll a little blunt.
Just roll a little blunt out of paper.
Yeah, but the paper's too flimsy. It doesn't hold up to my
You
like
gotta look,
gorilla hands.
You have to crinkle the paper.
No,
first,
I got that. Yeah.
uncrinkle it,
And then
just be.
no,
a man.
I've seen a lot of joints rolled.
I'll teach you
in
how to
my-
roll sushi, and then you'll be able to roll a joint.
I don't know. My hands, I got injuries to the thumb knuckles and such. All I know is
I don't know all the
tonight,
words
come
either.
down to the lab if you can, whether or not you can roll a joint or Cheech and Chong, right? Like,
Yeah,
still
you-
come down. The
No,
lab
we
is
don't-
fucking.
yeah, we definitely don't.
If you're thinking of coming from out of state, you might want to hop in the car in a few hours. You got time to finish what you're doing. But
we're looking
that's
at
what
about
you're
9
doing
o'clock
tonight.
for showtime.
Yeah.
And so let's hope it. And if it's flooded again, well, whatever. We'll
You
make
want
the
to come
best.
early. You want to make sure you get the good seats.
I don't even know if we
You're
have
sitting
seats.
up front.
Move
I don't even know if we have.
Yeah, there's
some.
no seats.
We have nothing.
Nope.
No, it's empty.
I'm lying.
But it's good like that.
That's okay. Yes, I mean
Standing
you don't really
room only.
need seats because
Standing room, but
There's
that's-
so much mingling. General admission.
It's gonna be
General
It's gonna be
admission.
rammed.
Mosh pit.
We'll see. We'll see.
No Cheech and Chong
Um,
mosh pit.
So,
So we got 10 minutes left.
It's like
Let's
we're
wind
wrapping
it
up
down.
our wrap up. We wrapped up. We just the whole day was a wrap up.
I know. It's, 'cause
This
it's,
whole day was pretty much a wrap up.
it's so crazy because we didn't
Wrapping
even
up the-
scratch the surface and like, I don't know. The lab I know is not going away, and I know
No.
that it will come back in its best yet form. I totally agree.
Oh, 100%. And we it's not that we don't know what we're doing. We definitely do. But like I said, we're going to keep it under wraps for a little while until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. And I think people are going to be pretty amazed at what we can pull off.
And I think it's, that's one of the great reasons to try to do the membership deal because you want to know.
Well, we're going to do pop-up. We're going to do some, do our own little pop-up shop.
nice.
If we don't, if we don't get on board quick enough, then we will just, make sure people get their membership's worth out of it and have a few one-off parties. And again, I'm going to start cruising around and checking out all these other establishments, see if we can just bring the Hood Lab flavor to them because they might have everything but that crowd. You know what I mean? And so,
For sure.
and that can change their spot and then create what we were talking about earlier, having
network.
I don't want to be the only spot. I definitely don't.
No, that's
and I
not-
feel sort of sad sometimes when it's like people come in and go, so where else can we go and do this? And it's like, not really anywhere. I mean, here's a list of a few places, and every time they're disappointed, and I'm not going to say names or anything, but they'd
Right,
be like,
right, for
they'd
sure.
be like, why'd you send me there? And it's like, oh, I didn't. I just said there's the only other place I know. You know what I mean? And even like Illusions on First Friday, of course, they have a pretty good scene
Right,
going
that's
on.
legit. Yeah.
But that's only for once every month. You know what
Right,
I
right,
mean? So
right. It's not a place you can go. It's an
Right.
event you can go to. Yeah.
And I think more people jump on board with that, and we have a little network going on here in Colorado or here in Denver at least. And that's the thing is like Denver is the problem. It's not the state. The state is definitely open to having clubs. It's just the town of Denver for some reason has some idea that it's not the.
That's true. And
so I think the rest of the places should. I mean, we're not there as much, but I mean, if they can just do half of what we're doing, they'll be fine. You know what I mean? Because
sure.
they don't have to go above and beyond. I mean, if you're in some small town and they just a place to go smoke and there's chill and the people are nice, that should be a success.
Absolutely. I think there's always a demand for that.
And it's so hard to get into the game now if you want to become a dispensary and deal with all that bullshit that you might as well go in where it's still kind of open. You know what I mean? They're still like they're making the rules, and you can just keep up on it. And then if you can follow what they're doing and keep it within the boundaries, then you should have a totally successful business after a few years.
And I think also you're not. You have an opportunity to innovate and do something new. You don't have to just it's not the formula for running a successful grow or a successful dispensary is pretty well established at this point.
And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an expensive one.
It's guaranteed you need to spend this amount of money to even get close to
the formula for running a really cool smoking lounge.
It's still wide open, and it's really down to what you can bring to that. Like as far as if you can bring. Some places are going to go for the high class. I mean, I talked to somebody yesterday, then they were like, they want to have like Avion water in the bongs.
Dude, I was actually thinking
people clean it for you.
What you shouldn't do, you should do it fine restaurant style.
That's not our style of people,
right? Like every time you go to ash your joint, the ashtray's been emptied. You didn't even notice someone came and emptied your ashtray. Like rolled you a new J
without that overpowering service, almost like that. Just classic
the ghost service.
Like I would love to have one that's just rich, deep. Leather chairs and mahogany walls, and
I'm with that, Crunchy.
Really good books. I mean, I think it'd be cooler to have a place with like really good books and just good conversation. I don't really like TVs and stuff.
I think you're talking about a library.
No, he's talking about like one of those English, like an explorer's club.
You get a smoking jacket on the way in.
Exactly.
Crunch, you and me, we're going to do that one day, bud.
Okay.
Smoke my.
If you guys want to contribute to Crunchy and my's vision here, or the new lab, or perhaps they'll be one and the same. Check it out.
We definitely need a kitchen in the new lab, so I mean that's one of those.
Hey, if you need a chef who's not Raekwon.
Crunchy can, I think,
I look a little like him though sometimes.
No, Adam, don't.
Don't
be so racist.
That's archetypal. I'm not even gonna go all the way racist.
Yeah, it's not even racist yet.
Come on now.
All
He's
right.
a happy guy.
He's a happy
guy too. You guys are
happy
happy.
dark people.
Happy.
There's two kinds of dark people. There's happy ones
and
scary
ones. We can go either way.
Adam, do you have your book where you look at the faces and match them up?
Yep.
Yeah, he's happy.
That's a bad just bad app.
It's a bad app. Right on.
Do they actually have an app like that? No.
Probably.
That would be terrible.
It gets pulled every day.
They do that stuff in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like when you ever been in serious injury and you're in the hospital and they give you one of those stupid boards with those dumb little smiley faces on them that rate pain management.
No, I'm not even talking about that. But yeah, that's
so I'm supposed to rate how much I'm hurting by how much this face is or is not smiling. That's how much you rate your pain.
I didn't know. I was like, what hospital are you going to? Where it's like, I'm black.
No. It's like it gives you like a 1 to 10 scale, and it has like happy and sad faces, and like you're supposed to see how much pain you're in for recovery. You have to move it on this frowning face to a fully smiling face. That's when you're allowed to go.
Where were you on that?
I'm in between Irish and Puerto Rican.
That was at my pediatrician's office.
Okay.
Well, you're a kid. I mean, I don't think unless you've been going I feel like the happy face meter actually works at a pediatrician's office. Right?
Yeah, in
he's like, I went to a hospital. Yeah,
now we're talking.
How many stickers did you get afterwards? I think
lots.
It was the pretzel rods that always got me, but they were always so damn stale. Now that I look back on it,
never go for pretzels.
Dude, there's
only the wrapped lollipops.
They always were pushing the pretzels on you. They're like, here, take 9 pretzels with you after
you're in a sick place.
Pretzels?
You don't want
why would people put their hands?
No, hold on. I'm sorry.
That mom and dad, you shouldn't have given me the damn pretzels.
What?
He's from Pennsylvania,
Pediatrician has pretzels.
Wait, whoa, no, they came in. It was the Utz little container. And
it's the little sealed, yeah.
And they'd hand me a pretzel rod, and I'd say thank you, and I'd leave. It's better for you than a lollipop. It wasn't like all sugary and shit. You're leaving the doctor's office.
I was a military brat. I was all on base hospitals and just like, don't get syphilis, and I'm like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, we're going to wrap up in about 3 minutes.
What do we got going on for next week?
That was a major wrap up.
Next week, we're going to need listeners calling in.
We need some questions.
Yes, so next week, we're going to do a very serious topic.
Serious.
We're going to be doing gender in the cannabis community and industry. Yeah,
we're not talking about plants, right?
No, well, that may come into it,
that will be part of it, of course.
But, so Adam and Cece got into this debate about...
I like how you called it a debate, but anyway.
What do you want to call it?
Oh, she was ready to divorce me over.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought you were exaggerating.
Yeah, got that close.
We've had the same argument. I want to hear this.
So,
you had the same argument?
I've had the same argument multiple times. I'm ready to hear this.
Just about the roles that women seem to take in the cannabis community and industry, and why that happens. Yeah. Is that really just what the argument was about? Why that happens?
Yeah, well, it was mostly like, why is this such a male-dominated industry? You know,
and so we want to hear from all you guys and ladies out there.
I want to hear from everybody. It's going to be a good one because it definitely brings up a lot of emotion.
Emotion, for sure.
Emotional topic.
But we're looking, I want, like, if you work in the cannabis industry, if you're trying to work in the cannabis industry, if you have experience one way or the other, if you have theories, there seem to be a few consistent theories that perhaps we'll bring up.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
So we're not going to pick everyone who has a theory. But if you have...
I'd like to hear other people's
theories. Oh, yeah. So if you have a unique one, yeah. Are we getting chat room chatter right now? I imagine we are. Cool. Well, what else is going on? So that's next week.
And questions. Send in questions.
Send in questions. Send in your anything. Contact us on Facebook. Adam Dunn Show on Twitter. You can also just info@adamdunnshow.com or go to adamdunnshow.com and use the contact form. Leave it as a contact. Leave it as a comment in the YouTube video. Leave it as a comment on, rate our podcast and leave it as a comment. That's cool. We'll get you on the show. Oh, shouts to everyone who's been doing that, by the way. Yep. Rating things, subscribing on YouTube, definitely clutch. Subscribing to the podcast at adamdunnshow.com/podcast. We got a minute left. I'm going to plug myself and then let's do family shout-outs.
Yeah, go for it. Oh,
the book.
How's the book going?
The book is going really well. The feedback's really strong. I think a lot of people look at it and they're like, dude, this is like 82 pages. And then you read it and you're like, wow, it actually has more words than most books have because they're usually just pictures and big font. And you're like, there's a ton of fucking info in here.
Well, yeah, you didn't go for the classic, like, I'm going to fill this thing up with a million.
No, I wasn't. I was just trying to get the info.
Turns mini high times or something.
Yeah, and I think I'm sticking by the guarantee now. It's 150% your money back if you buy it and you don't learn at least 5 things and can't appreciate cannabis more. So if both those conditions are true, then...
Sounds like another one of those Optograb moments. You'd be signing those checks. Come on. The jerk. Remember the Optograb?
No.
Nobody ever remembers it. Yes.
No.
And you remember you had to sign every single check. So if people just get wise to you, they might be like, I didn't learn nothing. I want my 150.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
For sure.
Wait a minute. I did so well. And now I have to pay back 50% more.
You got to prove. I don't know how you're going to have to prove it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
How many units have you moved so far?
Unprovable.
We've moved, of the first 1,000 limited edition, we've moved about 250 as of this morning.
Cool. That's pretty good.
So they're going fast. You can order them signed right now in the first 1,000 edition on the website if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not, but you know, I believe that your handwriting is part of your soul, so you're selling part of your soul. So I'm not psyched on it, but I've been convinced.
Must have really nice handwriting, man.
No, exactly. It's the craziest thing. It's kind of like Jackson Pollock. Like his art's worth something, but it's kind of just like scribble, So
pretty awesome.
So that's my shout, family shout. Reese is listening. I know, my beloved wife, and Farron, who is like talking nonstop. She's when I'm not here. I'm just gonna have a recording.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna get
dad. She doesn't say dad. She makes all kinds of cute noises. She likes going. Is
that talking?
She jabbers,
vocalizing.
man. She's vocalizing.
Jibber
there you go. Jibber jabbers. Yeah. Awesome little baby. And Adam.
Oh, and a shout out to my wife Cece and baby Nick there up at the Blue Mountain for the last
Blue Mountain shout out.
Pretty much, last Blue Mountain shout out. So they're up there just packing away. I'm sure he's unpacking as fast as she's packing.
Right.
Down. So I know how that goes down. Shout out to my mom out there at the farm, Jack out there helping out. And we're gonna definitely have to hit the farm this next. That's one great thing about all this stuff shutting down for me right now is I can have a chance to go chill out on the farm. Which
it's not really chilling out, but it's on the farm.
I do.
Oh, I guess this time of year you're still.
I'm gonna be chilling out.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna have to get the Canna Boot Camp in order.
Are we doing it?
It's happening. Got crunchy. We're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
We have
a proper military
quartermaster is the term I've bestowed on Crunchy.
Quartermaster General.
Quartermaster General of the Canna Boot Camp.
So keep your eyes out for Canna Boot Camp.
Where can they look for that?
They're going to have to come to the show. We're going to tell them when it's happening because I'm relying everything based on harvest time, so I can't put dates on it.
Well, no, I got that, but so stay tuned to the show.
Stay tuned to the show.
How many slots are there going to be?
Very limited.
Like 8, 10?
10.
10 slots?
10 to start with, yeah.
There you go. I won't even say any more right now.
Exactly. So if you really want to learn everything about cannabis, get ready for Canna Boot Camp.
And buy the book, cannahandbook.com.
A lot of cannas.
Yup. Talk to you next week, guys.
Peace.